Your ship is well, that only Jolly Roger has been through hell. Yo ho, on an adventure we go. In the heated digital high seas, we travel with ease until we reach the outer edge and freeze. The Arctic chill like a very speed mill through the darkness led by our will. Yo ho, on an adventure we go to beyond the outer limits of society, broadcasting the reality. The pirates will always steal the show from WPRPN, you know. Yo ho, on an adventure we go. Knock our vessels in the Skullport Harbor. No land lovers will fight for you harder. Your old first mate went AWOL after a tricky deal haul. The legacy of pirate radio is strong. I hope our mates will come along. The changes we seek may not be long. That is why I wrote this song. And we go ho ho, on adventure we go.
Welcome everybody, friends, folks, foes, and fellow pirate mateys, to yet another weekly edition of World Pirate Radio News. It's show segment number 313. I'm your host and companion, Robin Hood's Chief Communications Officer, Jeffy Ryder. WPRPN.com is a website you'll want to drop by, take a look at. We actually got some changes in the works as well, too, to the overall feel, appearance, and format. So that's pretty exciting. Do check out the show description into things as well, too, that we have running in conjunction with the show. We have a Patreon presence and online merchandising available for people that are interested in helping us out. Our PayPal, Pirate1Radio at protonmail.com, is also the email that you use if you have any show suggestions, guest ideas, or you run into any problems along the way when you sign up with WPRPN.com. Just get back to us through the email, and we'll help to do our best in smoothing things over, getting you sailing off in just a sort of direction you hope to be. So remember, as always, to like, comment, share, hit the subscription, notification buttons, really critical stuff, folks, if you haven't done it already. And pass word along to your friends, family, and co-workers. We could definitely stand to benefit from a little more public support. There's no doubt about that. And do keep in mind that half of everything we generate here, as far as donations and the like is concerned, goes directly back to the grassroots, pretty much in conjunction with the whole WWRHD, What Would Robin Hood Do, ethos and philosophy. You know, still can't believe to this day that no other social media personalities, live streamers, large, small, or otherwise, don't embrace this approach, you really got to ask yourself what's going on. What could that possibly be all about? But yeah, we do like to look at where we can for the little guy. It's also great to, pay our basic operating expenses too, which, truth be told, we struggle each and every year to achieve that task. So it's not an easy feat by any means. But all right, well, there's always a thing or two we miss out on here. Jonathan Womack, we might as well address that now. Jonathan, I think his middle initial is J. He was one of our first guests that we had on the show back in the day when we got things rolling. I guess it was around 2016 or so. And he's got a great new documentary out, been making the rounds and picking up some pretty rave reviews. So we've been in touch and working on either doing something this week or at some point, hopefully not too distant future, with Jonathan. He's a really, really fascinating, intriguing guy, no doubt about that. So, and how about that little cutie there too? Facebook friend of ours that we recently, were reminded of. So beautiful, lovely smile. So, what do you think, guys? Nothing wrong with a little eye candy from time to time. You would think, Roger, Vinny, and
Yum yum.
Chris, of course.
Trick or treat.
Yeah. Oh, we've even got Sonia in on the action.
Yeah,
All
I'm here.
right. Oh, good stuff. So, I wonder if how we can break this up.
No more sausage party. All right.
Oh,
I broke at the sausage party.
yeah, that's right. A little taco flavor to the sausage fest. That's right.
Little seasoning.
Oh, jeez. Reminds me, actually, well,
We got a little chon in here.
and just imagine
You tell him.
a little what? What do you say,
I
Vinny?
A
just-
little chon, eh?
I don't know what the hell that's slang for something. It's just over my head. So, but the wife just brought me some burritos here.
Oh, good for you.
Back. So,
It's fantastic.
Speaking of
Burritos
tacos,
are great.
yeah, definitely. What's Mark doing on your feed over there, Roger? Or is that Rich?
He just keeps hanging around.
He's stuck there. He won't leave.
He's can't.
By the
get
way,
out,
we've got a contest going concerning Mark.
Yep.
That picture.
Yeah.
We're wanting to name it. Now, in order to name it, there's 2 rules that you have to go by. The name for that picture has to be something that pertains to a hardcore Puritan name.
British
From the
Puritan.
No, British Puritan name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Sexiest Calvinist alive.
Yeah. No, I mean it's got to be. It can't. And don't cop out either. Don't say something
Has to be
like Jacob.
hardcore.
What do you
Yeah.
mean?
Hardcore.
talking about?
Puritan
Hardcore name. It's a contest to name Mark.
like Jezediah or
Yes.
some
Oh,
shit
now
like
you're
that.
you're kind of shifting up the goal. The goalpost, shifting the rules. And
How about
correct.
At least it's
There
not
you
an
go.
Alvin.
McKeezeldek Fro.
It's got to have something to do with the hair, man.
McKeezeldek Windy Fro. He's out there on the poop deck with the McKeezeldek Windy Fro on the poop deck.
McKeezeldek Winfro.
Yeah. So
Yeah, something like that. Or
Hey,
Winfro McKeezeldek.
Sonia,
Yes.
God, well, we just kind of gave you a bit of a shout out and a plug as far as not directly, but in a roundabout way. You've been helping out put some template action together. One of the few people to really step up. A lot of talkers
Yeah, I'm
out
having
there.
fun. It's pretty fun, actually.
Yeah.
I really get into the pirate thing. I've got some really awesome things in store.
Excellent. And
Yeah.
well, yeah, and we have our merchandise available over via Galactic Fire, so we should get that link out there too in the chat end of
Okay.
things. So
Soon it will be on your website, hopefully, if everything goes right. If
that's
everything goes as planned.
yeah, that's what we're shooting for here, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. So but I guess there's maybe not much need to say anything more than that at present. But everyone on board here, no real stranger to the show as far as the roundtable personalities are concerned. Having said that, however, why don't we let each of you, in a kind of round the horn fashion, introduce yourself, just for anyone out there who may be a new listener. So let's hear first, I suppose, from Roger. Is a circular fashion. Well, Sonia, you've been doing most of the talking here besides myself. Sonia, Vinny, Do Better, and then Roger, and then back over to me, I guess, to pick up from where you guys leave off.
Skip me, dude.
Sonia?
Yeah, so I do t-shirts and help out with awesome projects. And if you would like some pirate t-shirts or some other types of awesome t-shirts, please go to galacticfire.com /pirate if you want to get into the pirate thing. And it's TEC instead of TIC. And Instagram's going on. I'm thinking about getting me a TikTok. We'll see what happens. So, and then I hang out with Roger on his show sometimes. And I guess that's kind of it. It's all I can think of. So next.
All right. Vinny?
Hey, forget about it. How you doing there, guys? Good evening, good morning, good day, everybody. So I put up a video today, guys. I'm very excited about it. There was a little clip from John Rich on a podcast.
What channel are we talking? What a lot of people may not be familiar with your channel.
Okay, it's bitshoot.com/cants. Children are not sex toys.
Cants. Yeah, that's right.
And this video of Jaffe, this video is fantastic. I'm pretty sure you've been busy, so you didn't get a chance to see this yet. But John Rich had a visit with President Trump. And at this visit, he was asked by Trump, why does he get booed at events when he speaks about the old butt jab? Right?
The butt jab. Oh, you mean the kill shots?
Yeah.
Right.
And John tells him. He tells him exactly why. And so I can say from that point forward, right? Well, if he's part of the depopulation agenda that all these other freaks are into, well, he would be doing things against that, right?
Look, Trump always the what was so obvious right from the start was Trump always allowed people the choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was like, you have the choice. If you want to take them, it's up to you. If you don't, that's your call as well, which was the reasonable approach rather than these hardline Rockefeller lockstep eugenicists.
Exactly, Jaffe. He makes a point of that during this little clip. So it's funny you brought that point up.
Really?
Yeah.
How about that? Okay, so he echoes as much, does he? That Trump allowed the freedom to choose was something that he promoted.
That is correct. He thought. Now listen, this is trust but verify, right? I'm trusting on this point. I haven't verified it, but I'm trusting that he thought he was doing a good thing with all this crap, being the father of the vaccine and all that hot garbage, right? But we all know that's not what it is, right? It was a control mechanism that they created, they dissolved, and they learned how to put into our bodies using the air, the water, and the food, right? And it reassembles in your body and makes a biological Wi-Fi chip.
Okay, you're so right about that too, and that's with Charles Lieber out of Harvard, now disgraced former head of the biochemistry department out of Harvard. He's the guy to look into, folks, if you've yet to do so. That's who we need to keep in our crosshairs and in the hot seat. He needs to be held to account with that very thing. You know about the patent that he took out, I guess, Vinny. We've
I
talked
do
about enough
indeed.
times here.
Yes.
So, and what they've done, they've like Bill Gates and that one, and hopefully this doesn't get us, pick up any, what's from who.
The
Uh,
algorithm's already crashing
yeah,
at this point.
yeah. Well, it's just the whole thing is just. I just still can't believe 5 years after the fact that people are still being punished for all they say is medical information, and they won't say anything more. They're too cowardly. They're too spineless.
Yeah, Jaffe. I took care of that a little bit this morning. Let's see how it goes. This is what I did.
BitChute, you're free to say whatever you want, of course.
Yeah, I did this on X. On X, I decided to attack the whole concept of community notes. What is the purpose of community notes? It's to enforce truth, isn't it?
I guess kind of groupthink, yeah, or kind of like, or kind of keep it more or less on track, and that well, you've got an opinion which kind of it varies or strays from what the kind of mainstream conventional view of this topic is.
Right, but the mainstream should still be the truth at the very least, right? Oh. So if we got a bunch of propagandists who are spewing straight out lies, how come the community notes never are attached to those freaks? For example, Harry Sisson, Ed Krasenstein.
Yeah. Oh, right? God. Well, we live in a world of lies and contradictions, clearly. So, and the closer that you find yourself drawn into the circles of power and influence, you can bet your bottom dollar that there will be those two items will be present in spades, I guess, is one way of putting it. Abundant.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, let's so Cance, the channel over on BitChute, GMNO, genetically modified via Minds. Not that we're here, just to be clear, to offer any formal financial, legal, or health advice. So
yeah, we just play millionaires on TV. That's all.
What? Pardon me.
We just play millionaires on TV.
Right. Entertainment and educational purposes only is what I hear many others talk about. Just educational, entertainment purposes only. And I do, but it's quite sincerely believe that, really people need to reach out to experts either directly within their own community or via the interwebs through whatever means, and look around. Don't just settle with one view or opinion. Seek out numerous, angles, ways of looking at these issues, the problems that impact our lives, and ultimately decide what is best for you. Because I think it's a one size fits all solution to any number of life's challenges, and hurdles that we face. It's ridiculous, obviously. So, but there we go. And before we carry on any further, the views and opinions expressed on behalf of myself, the show's hosts, and our guests here, co-hosts, commentators, and the like, do not necessarily reflect either those of the wider listening audience nor the show's sponsors. So who do we got? Is it Chris? Let's go to Chris Do Better. Down. You're on the road, Chris. Are you not? Where are you now? You kicked off your journey via Key West. Let's hear from you. We want all the latest from the road. It's great that you're still alive, obviously, and we saw a few pictures via Minds posts and the like. It looks like you're doing well. Good news, good stuff. Where is that?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Fire away, man.
Yeah, said I threw some more pictures there in the chat here, but right now I'm in Fort Lauderdale. And, I've gone about 200 miles so far, a little over.
Are you racing or pacing?
Just pacing. I ain't racing nobody. Who am I racing?
Well, yeah, you
I'm
tell
the
us. Yeah,
first to do this. So,
right. First to do what exactly?
I'm not to do the East Coast Greenway Trail and then go from the Greenway Trail to the Appalachian Trail.
Okay.
So I'm gonna then hike.
Right. Have you been working on doing any other interviews, or how have you been going about trying to pick up more exposure in support of your
Okay,
efforts?
so I got started, and I mean, I had to get started, so I did the thing, and I quickly came to a realization that you can't camp in the Florida Keys unless you have months prior, like in advance, reservations for a campground, which you have
America,
to pay
home of the free, land
close
of
to
the
$100
slave.
per night to pitch your freaking tent.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, so I the first 3 or 4 nights I basically laid my head wherever I could and got woke up with the can't sleep here. So
Yeah.
it
Right.
was a little bit and I haven't really I'm still trying to recoup from that whole ordeal of yeah. No information about that on the East Coast Greenway site, but yeah.
Okay. Now, but that's Florida
This
only as far as you know, right? Like, think
Well, I think
the
it's the
rules of
Florida
the game, rules of the road may change as you
yeah,
venture forth and enter
but
into other states.
something that's not common, and it's like um, the where I'm at's close to the beach on the coast, so it's not you can't camp on the beach in Florida. No beach, nowhere. And there's just, it's not conducive for camping. So if you plan on doing the East Coast Greenway, once you're for the most part in Florida, you're going to have to find a place to camp. Like you're going to pay for camping, or you're going to have to find a hotel room, which is way more than what I budgeted for.
I would just,
So
man,
I'm just,
no, yeah. I know what I would do if it was me. It wouldn't be paying $100 a night
fine.
for pitching a tent either.
No, but I have had to pay to get a campsite and hotel rooms. And then when I'm not, I'm like worried about like who's going to wake me up and like where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? So,
You know, it'd be
but
great.
it
You know, it'd be really good
is,
is
and I'm
to connect with people
ongoing.
who could either sponsor you or take you in for the night as you
Post
make your
me,
way.
yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, so what I'm looking for like a social media manager, and that would help like get the word out and possibly get more people on the follow and helping me out, send me different locations that I can visit to camp more peacefully.
Yeah.
But as, as I get going and get more energized, I'm kind of wore out getting used to it and having lack of sleep. So as I get more used to it, I'll get more social media posts going and whatnot. So far, I'm just posting on mines only, and yeah. So if anybody is like a social media manager type that wants to work with me, I don't have money to pay you up front, but hopefully, some proceeds from sponsorships and whatever will come through, and yeah, definitely be broke off.
Well,
Hit me up at mine.
we need to share
Just too
your
good.
post. Yeah, Chris Dogood over on Minds, and we always are sure to share everyone's social media links via the archived end of things. But on top of that, speaking of Minds, as an example, we know there's a Florida group. What other states are you passing through?
All the coast, the East Coast. So,
Carolinas.
yeah.
I
All the
think there's a
coast.
North Carolina. I think there might be a South Carolina. I'm not too familiar with American geography. Help
So
us out here a little bit. East
Florida,
Coast
Georgia,
states.
North Carolina, Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
then Washington D.C.,
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore, or Maryland, the Delaware,
Mm-hmm.
Jersey, New York, up states,
Okay.
up in that region.
Have you shared your information? Have you shared your information in those minds groups?
I haven't
Not
so
yet, huh?
far.
No.
No.
But you can. Well, I mean, because you got you got a couple months ahead of you
Kind of,
still, right?
yeah, at least like
6 weeks.
2 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, we can help you get you set up with that end of things. Is what something we could offer, and where it goes from there is anyone's guess. Obviously, it's up to whoever sees the posts, right? So
Yeah.
basically, but at least they're in the right uh, groups, and you from there you can promote the potentiality of somebody either taking you in or letting you put your tent out in a spare a part. Maybe they got some extra land or something like that. If they just want you to take care of yourself as you travel, like
Yeah.
I don't know, on
Just
outside.
like a front backyard, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You
And the
know?
purpose of your journey is to raise a greater level of eco awareness. Is that right?
Well, it's a lot of things. So it's awareness for health and fitness, like getting my health in shape, and hopefully, showing that it's not that difficult to get out and do stuff, and then
Who's
also
Mhm.
to bring awareness to a couple of things that are near to me, like
Mhm.
breast cancer awareness. Lost my grandmother, and I my mother just survived breast cancer, so she's a survivor. Not a I didn't lose her, but it's still something that needs help being getting taken care of, and then also suicide prevention and awareness. Lost my aunt for that,
Wow,
and yeah, just
that's incredible. Do
bringing it to the trails, and that there's a lot more ways to get around this country, and yeah, see a beautiful side of. And
There's a beautiful picture here. I'd like that. That'd be cool to crop that one and maybe add it to next week's slideshow. You Miami Beach. So you're I guess Epstein's not anywhere around there these days. I guess wasn't Vinny, wasn't that where he one of his big main pieces of property was located? Somewhere Miami Beach, or where the heck was that exactly?
He's probably got tons of properties all over the world. Obviously he has properties in Israel where they snuck him away. If anyone actually thinks he's dead,
Mm.
they're really just being lazy and incurious.
Yeah, it's a bit of a head scratcher for sure. So similarly, there was a lot of questions asked about another billionaire via South Korea. Actually,
Oh yes.
they allegedly found dead, but the story changed so many times. Like it was starting with they could only find a small amount of his DNA apparently because everything had so badly deteriorated and decomposed that there's just one small little part of one of his fingers where they could render a DNA sample supposedly, and then every day the story changed. Like like it's I don't want to get into it. It's like the cops and their story every day. The investigators they changed like 3 or 4 times. Like what the hell are you? They found new items like they'd already covered, like he was found out in basically a field, small plot of land, supposedly. And one day they said, well, where was his walking cane? He had a walking. He needed to have that walking cane with him, and the next day the walking cane magically showed up just a few feet away. They cover, and then next day, and then it's things like, well, what's he doing drinking? He never drank before, and the soju bottles all disappear, and
So is that
And
the
toxicology report changes.
and then glasses. Well, what about his glasses? He needed glasses. He always had the glasses. Showed up the next day. They just magically appeared there too. Things like that. And it's like, and he wasn't even the right height.
is that part of the official story?
He was like half a foot shorter and all this kind of nonsense. Go ahead.
I said, is that part of the official story?
Yep.
Yeah. You can always trust those official stories.
Really bad. Like it was just bad. It was like so bad. Kind of like the way when
So
they.
that picture there,
Mhm.
that picture there that you got on the screen, that's one of the bridges that cross.
Mhm. Can you go swimming there?
Yeah.
You can just
If
jump.
you want to die,
What are there sharks?
I mean, there's not much of there's no beach or anything. It's just like you drop off into the ocean. So good luck getting out.
What kind of a drop is
probably
it?
about a
6 foot drop?
2, 3, maybe 4 foot.
Do they
A
not
good drop.
right? What are those silly? You think they would have better like barriers if people wanted to drive in there and kill themselves? I guess they could easily do so in whatever manner. It's like, okay, yeah. All right, I'm just kind of curious the geography.
Yeah, that's one of the many bridges I had to cross with traffic. That was fun.
How long did that take you? That took you an hour or something? What was the deal there?
Yeah.
And that's going.
That one probably maybe like 30 minutes.
Oh, I see.
7 Mile Bridge, hour and a half.
That connects, and that bridge we're looking at right there, that connects Miami Beach to where?
No, that bridge is down more in the Keys.
As in Key West?
Like not Key West, the Keys.
The Florida Keys.
Well, why do they call it Key West if that's not part of the Keys? Key West, Key East.
It is. I'm just saying that bridge is connected to Key West, but it's part of the Florida Keys.
I see. I'm not familiar.
So that would be connected to, I think, Big Bear, something, Big Pine, Key, I think, maybe.
Oh, that's really cool.
I'm not real.
How many pictures do we have here? So what's this? Your blood pressure? No. Time.
How much time and like miles I rode that day? I rode 61 miles.
60 plus miles.
Yeah.
Are you logging this every day on your social media? Uploading?
I'm uploading, but not like logging specific things every single day. I'm just kind of throwing up every, whatever.
How do you
throwing up for the day?
How do you find the roads to travel on with all the cars? Because you've got them coming at you from behind. Yes?
Yeah.
All it takes is one mishap. Now, this person doesn't even have to be drunk necessarily, but just a little careless or, some sort of.
It's not the easiest thing to do, but I'm doing it. So I've got a little tail light deal that flashes, and it's got a radar, so it lets me know when a car is coming, and then it also flashes faster whenever the car gets close to me.
Mm-hmm.
So them know that I'm like right there. Hey, motherfucker. So,
Mm-hmm. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
yeah.
Gives me a little more like peace of mind, but at the same time, it's still nerve wracking.
Vinny, are these a couple friends of yours or something? What are we looking at? Some of Brooklyn, a pair of Brooklyn's finest. Is that right?
And there's just a goofy image I threw in, but you should show the E-Team image. That's a fun image. Right?
We already did. Yeah, there's some September 11th business. We had it on the screen earlier.
Are people aware that the where it says E-team on the buildings is where the planes hit?
No, let's take a look at that again. Then I guess it warrants. Now, and wasn't that all set up by the Israeli so-called art students? Weren't they behind that?
That's correct. It's a team called Gelatin.
That's just another no, but the E team. I see what
There's all the project. Yeah, there's a project.
Now,
and the project was to put a screen in the sky so they could show us a movie.
That's what the Israeli art students. One of the things that they were behind is this. Is that right?
That is correct. That is correct.
How long prior? What to the actual events of September 11th did this appear, and for how long was this in place?
This was they just showed it one day, and no one really paid attention to it.
And
but to pay attention now.
Yeah, how long prior to September 11th was this?
I don't have the precise date. I've been waiting for that to come up. I'm doing all kinds of things, so that can stand by the wayside. It's not important to have the date, precisely. But I'll have it next week, I'm sure.
That is really. What would the purpose of that have been?
Well, it was duping delight, like Jeffy. Also, do you know that the movie The Aristocrats is an apology for September 11th?
You're talking about that silly, the really kind of over the top, joke. The comedy,
the really ribald joke. Yes,
the one that Gilbert Gottfried that he transitioned into after making it was a September 11th related. It was talking about air travel basically, and had to making a stop at the Empire State Building. But that was actually I was after September 11th, right? And this was all at Hugh Hefner's Playboy roast, as memory serves. Correct?
I believe so. Wasn't yeah. Those roasts, you get a lot of information.
Okay, so what's your angle then, and what's your connection? And we got to get over to Roger here just to kind of cap things off.
Quickly, in the middle of the movie, they say that the movie is an apology for September 11th.
What?
Just watch it and you'll hear it for yourself.
You're kidding. Who said that?
I forget which comedian. You'll see. It's worth watching. Just because you have to see what's going on in the movie. We're going.
I'll watch that again. It's a pretty disgusting documentary. It's about as bad as you could possibly imagine. But that's the Borscht Belt Jewish type toilet humor that I guess has always been so popular, with a certain, contingency of the
who can out toilet who, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I get the joke. Like, I understand, because it's just so disgusting over the top. But there's a lot of other jokes people can tell than that. It's something that apparently was a comedian's insider joke for quite a few years, and you would never perform it, obviously. But I don't even know when it first emerged. Did they get into that in the documentary?
The movie is the history of the joke and what they do. You'll see. I mean, if you haven't, I know the seeing that and watching it is kind of a thing because of the movie that it is. But you should sit down and watch it and see what's in there. All right, because they'll tell you a lot of things about this world.
What do you call yourselves? That's just disgusting. The most revolting thing I've ever witnessed in my life. What do you people call yourselves?
The aristocrats. Ba-boom. Right. Yeah.
You got which makes at least some people to wonder what those super wealthy types actually get up to in their free time.
Well, once again, Jaffe, if people pay attention to 1 Corinthians 6:9 and realize that the word malakoi is mistranslated purposely, they would see exactly what's going on.
How about the word ass fisting?
Well, that's close. I don't know the Greek word for that.
Oh my God. Speaking of ass fisting, probably time now to turn things over to Roger Hansen for a few moments. Roger, not something you've ever personally had the pleasure of either viewing on screen or experiencing firsthand.
No, I haven't.
Why not, Roger? Come on. Jeez.
Hey, what's a little lube between friends, huh?
Yeah, and besides, I mean, you're about at the age right now, you have to have your prostate checked out, don't you? Just, I mean, that's one way of doing it.
I'm gonna die without knowing.
The prostate?
Yeah, fuck that pissed. Ain't nobody putting nothing up my asshole.
Well, yeah, I've got to get around to doing that actually. So, just
like you're 60, so you're
not
you're
that
like,
old. I'm not that. Not. I'm pushing. I'm getting there. I'm working on it. Yeah, mid-50s right now.
I'm not ever gonna do it. If I freaking get an illness, I'm just gonna tell the doctors. If they do see me, I'm gonna be like, don't tell me what it is. There's something wrong with me.
What are you talking about? We're talking prostate cancer.
I don't care. I mean, if I got freaking anal scan or cancer or whatever, I'm not gonna let them tell me. I'm just gonna go home and die.
You'd rather just die, huh? Okay. Stand by, folks. I'm gonna bring Telegram into the live stream here. Try not to get too distracted or worked up. Sonia, were you wanting to chime in there for a moment or two, or what's the deal?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I was talking with you guys through that whole fisting conversation, but then I realized that my mic was not on. So
big disappointment, huh? Yeah.
A little bit, because it was pretty funny. Yeah.
I bet we missed a lot of hot takes.
Yeah, there was a couple hot takes in there, I think. There were a couple jokes too, so I thought they were pretty funny. But anyway, I'll just keep an eye on my mic.
I think we deserve at least one of them.
Oh, well, they just come in the flow. I can't really make them up unless they're dad jokes. I like those.
I wish Christian would have stayed in here because I wanted.
Deserve at least one of them.
Oh, well, they just come in the flow.
Yeah, it's trying to let the Telegram distract you too much. We got it under control there now, so continue, please.
I wish Christian would have stayed in here because I wanted to ask him that thing about the horse meat up there in Canada because everybody's telling me it's the French that are eating it.
Well, we've been eating it too. You think they make these burgers out of actual beef?
Well, I mean, according to what they say is legal, Canada legally allows it, and so does England. Bunch of horse meat eaters, and everybody keeps telling me it's the French that eat it. So,
hey, look, we got. Oh, well, there. Anytime you bring that up, and we do have a Korean friend. I'm not too familiar with who this person is. Actually, they've shown up a few times. Just thinking about them the other day, wondering if they'd ever make another appearance. Yuja, I have no idea what that means. Maybe Zane does. Tok Yuja. Does that mean like very smart? I don't know. My Korean sucks. Although I was at immigration the other day. I think I was alluding to in the pre-show audio tech check end of things, and things went a lot better than I had expected. Really, it was quite. I just wasn't sure how things were going to play out. But I did know I received a legal summons finally. Actually, they got kind of frustrated with me not appearing to take care of things, and I guess it's a good thing ultimately I did. So it's just because of this renewal of passport business. See, my passport, I had no passport here for 5 years. I didn't even bother to renew my passport. My wife was on my case. I knew I was still in the system, as it were. You know, they had all my details. Obviously, it's not like I've gone anywhere. It's like there I am. I was like, what? I don't see what the problem is. But then again, from the bureaucratic standpoint, so often rules are rules. It is getting a little tricky right now with having to provide. You're required now to provide and present your citizen card, as it were. Something I'm waiting to receive now in about a month. So, but went in there and ultimately had to pay a $40 fine for being a little tardy, as it were, not knowing this new silly policy. And as always, I'm curious to know with any policy or law, piece of legislation, and how, by the way, do policies differ from laws? Did I technically break a law, or was it some sort of policy infringement or slight, who knows what exactly, misdemeanor, I guess, at best, really. But 45 days, as far as the time frame allowance, is what they set, but then it's actually 15. Once you receive your passport, you need a receipt of it showing up at your doorstep, and then you need to take that into immigration, present it to them, show them that there's the proof. So it's a little too much, actually. You think they would allow that 45-day time frame, but instead they narrowed down to 15, is what it looks like here. It's a bit of a long story, although I ended up only having to pay $40 basically. It could have been, people on YouTube were talking about $1,000 and the whole thing, and I was just kind of not wanting to deal with that, obviously. And the more I put it off, the more the wife was on my case. Obvious, no surprise there, clearly. And then they had me in the office. It was at 100 initially, was what they're saying, and then and then maybe because of my use of Korean, that's what this whole point was all about, really, use of broken Korean, as per what the wife told me yesterday, is like, oh, they probably really like that. It kind of, it helped to win them over a little bit, just speaking their language, essentially. And I can understand. That's something I've always said. You go to a foreign country, speak their language. Yes, I learned that years ago, having first visited Mexico, Baja, California. I swore that after that point, I would always work to do whatever I could to learn more of the native tongue anytime I was in a foreign country. So, but yeah, good news on that front, definitely. And it's great to see Tal Dok Yuja, not Yoja, which means woman, but Yuja. So, connecting here with us once again over on YouTube, Zane Ivy, asking how Straight Thunder 2025A going. That's got to be some military exercise, I would imagine. And let's talk about that. Taiwan, China's latest moves on Taiwan seem to be ramping things up, all within the midst of this ongoing tariff war business.
Oh yeah. That's some wild stuff.
That's where I kind of dropped the ball. Actually, I must say, I was thinking about this just before we kicked the stream off. That as much as it's still important, not only fine but essential to talk about the whole scamdemic, the LOCKSTEP agenda that the aristocrats essentially, that they basically unleashed, starting some 5 years ago, on the world, from the Rockefellers to the World Economic Forum and beyond, that with the cover kind of splash photo that we used, it should have had something more to do with Trump and the tariffs, frankly. And also, I would like to talk about these medics being targeted by the Israelis. murder just in cold blood, just butchered like dogs, because that's how they'd see them. These people that were behind, with their, that's they're just they're subhuman. They're the Amalek, right? So, and they're they're less than human. So it doesn't get any more anti-Semitic than that, obviously. Uh, I mean, it's just utterly horrifying. But yeah, as far as a splash cover photo, Trump's tariffs, I think that's what Zane was getting at. So David Wilkes connecting with us, Vinny, of course, on D Live, whole host of lurkers. Patent, at least patent in question. I'm not sure what that refers to, David, although there are some who say that Trump, and this wouldn't surprise me, if he was patent reincarnated, actually. It, and it's speaking of reincarnation, I'll try to keep this short, but I just heard a recent little something via Shirley MacLaine, of all people. Not like I listen to her all the time, every day, just once in a blue moon, she pop up on the radar. And it's important to hear from all sorts, obviously, but she's a big believer in reincarnation and life on other planets, which kind of makes sense if you think about it. Really, I don't see why in this day and age it should be that much of a mind blower. But with Christ, she never brought this up, but she did meet Jimmy Carter. And he was, as soon as she brought up being reincarnation, that he completely shut down the conversation because of his, his Christian so-called. I mean, he tried the best he could, and he lived a good life. Was my impression. Really decent, honest, humble life as best he could. But where he kind of, I think, messed up was ignoring the fact that Christ, apparently, because I checked this out, it's 35 times throughout just the course of the New Testament alone, and they're running as much gatekeeping there as they can. Have to remember, folks. Why is it so cryptic in the first place? But 35 times they mentioned born again. But we're not supposed to think that it could have maybe the slightest anything to do with reincarnation, even though they're talking about like women's genital areas and why people potentially inherit sins from, prior lives and that sort of deal. So it's just slightly infuriating. But anyways, that's about that. Let's see what we got some comments here. Reverse word for freedom. Oh, I see. Maybe that's his handle. It's the reverse word for freedom, which would mean what? Enslavement? Anyways, I've been there, says Yuja, all the way from Boston to Florida, Keys by driving. All right. So, and that, while he's here, he's doing something else with the radio on. Hopefully it's our radio that he's referring to, not necessarily another show. But sometimes if that's the way you got to do it, then have at it, right? So, all right. Now, has everyone had a chance to check out the talking points, the show notes, talking points of the week?
I downloaded it, didn't open it yet. I'm sure you got something good there.
Okay, what's that?
I'm sure you got something good for us.
Oh, Christian's back. Good to have him reconnect with us here. So, yeah, there's a lot of items, but as was mentioned earlier, people that have passed away. Val Kilmer dying at 65, I guess. That's how the story goes. And then, along with this, so many people passing away, so many people being born. Speaking of, and are they being born again? Via the astral realm, as it were, or drawn down from heaven. And I don't even know how you'd describe these things or get into it, but maybe Christian
it's a bit of a weird phenomenon, yeah, I'll say, because Natalie Portman, for example, right?
Mhm.
Doesn't she resemble some ancient Egyptian priestess?
Yeah, look at Obama, and then was it Akhenaten or
That's
something?
Barry.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that could just be a coincidence, or the way that, I don't know, way our DNA is set up and structured. Some people are bound to look pretty similar, clearly. So,
Right.
Christian, how are things going? It's interesting. He's actually he's got, I believe, when he's told us, Robert Morningstar working on editing the English version of his book, but haven't you plans for an audio book version of what you've
Yeah,
laid out
that's
as
what I
well?
want to. Yeah, that's what I want to. I want to do the French and English also, yeah, and your voice is amazing for that, I think.
Yeah, I'm kind of
Yeah.
kind of playing with you a little bit there, just in bringing that up. So, and speaking of which, be careful with playing with things on your desk. I think that's you, Christian. Sometimes people fidget and grab their pencil while
Okay.
they're talking, twiddle around with their jewelry or whatever the deal is. So,
Yeah.
Vinny, you've got your hand raised, and somebody, wasn't it Roger, wanted to ask Christian a question? But Vinny, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to mention. I thought you had said Amish before, but I think you were saying something else. But I wanted to thank the Amish because I heard that they are going to Swannanoa and building tiny houses for people.
Mhm.
I said this in a couple of my videos. I wish the Amish would just get up and build houses for these people, right? Because there's no. In fact, here's a better reason. Do you know about Epic City,
No.
Jeffy?
I know
Epic
about
City in
Slab
Texas.
City. Yeah, out in
Epic City
California?
in Texas. No, it's in Texas, and it's a giant Muslim mall that was built without a single permit. It's gigantic. And if they can build that, why can't they build homes for these people? So the Amish went out and they're building homes for these people as we speak.
How can anyone get away with building giant anythings, let alone Muslims, without a permit?
Well, listen, remember we have our own version of Londonistan, right? In Dearbornistan, right?
Yeah,
It's a Muslim.
you're talking Texas, though.
No, I'm talking Texas, but I'm saying there's stuff that, listen, they've done a multi-pronged attack on America,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And they have a whole bunch of enclaves all set up to set up all little
Sure.
bunch of
Look at China.
you know,
Look at and which is makes reminiscent of what they've allowed the CCP to do in surrounding how many of the U.S.'s military bases.
Well, it's all accelerated to a point now, so let's see what happens, right? The whole thing with the tariffs have gotten the whole thing on edge. But it's all about unbalancing this crooked setup that they've had. Right, the scaffolding is about to drop. How it lands, we don't know. But let's see.
The Great Reset 2.0, Trump version 2.0.
Or the Great Reject, right? Or whatever, something.
Well, there's a lot of, from what I'm picking up in my news feed, and this could just be the mainstream Mockingbird bias, because they hate the guy. They always have, right from day one. The billionaires, his billionaire supporters, and a lot of the MAGA
Zionist.
crowd are turning on the guy, apparently. So, and even with Musk over the tariff issue.
Oh, I put up an interesting video today. Have you ever heard of the I've Had It podcast?
No,
Jeffy?
no.
It's just two women, and all they do is talk trash about people. And so today they talk trash. And they talk trash about Elon Musk.
Wait a minute. Was this the same ones that recently covered House Speaker Mike Johnson being supposedly caught on Tinder, but the way it was set up and framed, that it could have been anyone could have been made to look like they were on Tinder with no proof. You know what I mean?
I hadn't
Yeah.
heard this. Thank you.
Yeah.
I learn something every day. I'll take a look at that.
It,
Jeffrey.
yeah, it could just be smearing. Like, there's no proof of nothing. Like, you could set up, because there's just text. It was text, like, text, and anyone could be set up to make it look like it was them, basically. So I'm not sold. Like, innocent before guilty. Give me a break.
It sounds like a smear to me. Yeah.
We have a new guest. We also have someone wanting to jump in. Roger, just a comment to cap that one off. Christian, I'm not sure if you had something more you wanted to add to that. You were trying to jump in there just a few moments ago. And then finally over to Yvonne, who has recently joined us. Roger, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, man, actually, nobody uses Tinder anymore, dude.
No, Grinder.
Grindr.
The total, isn't that like a totally faggy app or what?
Hello, Frisco.
I'm sure Yvonne liked that comment.
Oh, you're having fun, huh?
I just love the word faggy. It's a fun word.
I've never even heard of Grindr before.
Well, because you're not part of that community. The community, man.
Well, once I learned what free porn was, I don't need any of that kind of stuff. Like, that was my whole lifelong mission, was to figure out how to get free porn on the internet. And once that happened, I didn't care.
That and all the ass fisting you could possibly, appetite or.
Hallelujah.
Oh, you missed. Yeah, Jesus, a Christian ass fisting. Jeez, that's something we brought up early. It's a callback to something that we're kind of poking fun at. No, it actually goes beyond poking fun at when you're
actually, I'll ask Christian the question you wanted me to ask him too. I forgot to do that. Now, yeah. Christian, Jaffe, Naroki, and Tanhai Tran all told me that even though they do sell horse meat for free and legally up in Canada, they're telling me that they do it because the French people are the ones who are eating horse meat. Is that true?
Honestly, I know. Like, I heard here, like, there's people like in Alberta that are eating like horse meat, but like, no, I'm not like, I love horses. Like, yeah.
I'm not.
It's a delicacy in France, along with frog legs.
Is it a delicacy? Yeah, that's the
and
best.
Raw hamburger meat, steak tartare, which is gross.
And some countries, it's fucking dogs. Like, yeah. Okay.
There's your one complimentary F-bomb of the show, Christian. Anything more than that, it's 10 doubloons to the collective community potty mouth swear jar. So I'm not sure if you're aware of the policy or not, but yeah.
No, sorry.
No, that's okay. No, hey, we are pirates. Come on now. Yeah, we are. So, but just we try to. I mean, it's just a little bit of ass fisting now and again, and the F-bombs and
yeah. You were talking earlier about Trump and terrorists and all. Like, you guys it's a big show, eh? Like, they're replacing the CIA with the Mossad. The Zionists are taking control over everything. It's all like blackmail. All the politicians in place are blackmail. Like, if the truth comes out, it's gonna be wild. If you just add like all the pictures you see of Trump with Epstein. Like,
there weren't there was a few, but there wasn't too many of him alone with Epstein.
Well, see, the thing with Epstein, he was
or
calling
with young
out
girls.
Epstein. He was calling out Epstein with him.
Yeah,
my friend, he was calling out Epstein. Did you see he was standing next to him at the party? He was spinning his hand. He was doing the pedo symbol to show everyone. And did you notice Epstein step away from him nervously?
Really?
Yeah.
Really? So you're saying what? I had no idea. So you're with that hand. There's a hand gesture that Trump is using. It's a pedo gesture. Really?
calling out that it's a swirl. You know the swirl.
No, I never heard of it.
It's on the
Yeah,
FBI
they've
list of
got all
pedos.
kind of codes.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when you go according to like what Pizzagate says, there's like code words and there's stuff of that nature. So that's what he's getting into right there.
Oh, well,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, he kicked him off of I mean, we shouldn't even have to
Well,
go there.
remember this whole thing about Katie Johnson, right? Katie Johnson, 13 years old, purportedly raped by Trump, except that he never did anything. You know, it was a honeypot set up by Epstein.
How
I don't
about
know
Russell
how-
Brand now?
Well, I heard
Yeah.
something. I didn't get into that. I just glanced at it. I said, well, yeah, no surprise.
You know, in
Something-
my defense, as someone in his shoes, Errol Flynn kind of used this approach as well. But with someone as good looking as him, or whoever, Elvis, like, you don't have to rape anybody. Are you kidding me? Women are throwing themselves at you.
Yeah, except when they don't, right?
Well, and then
rape,
it's
first
he
off,
he
is
said, she
control.
said.
Yeah.
Rape is a control thing. It's not really about sex. It's about controlling.
Women are throwing, and when you're a celebrity, women are throwing themselves at you. Or if you're, a celebrity woman, I guess it's the same kind of thing. And that's a little, well, I don't know. Choose your friends carefully, and choose the people you allow into your bedroom carefully as well.
Indeed.
So,
I mean, what I'm saying is like it's more of a control thing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, yeah.
they're less attracted to you if you are attracted to them. Like they don't want anything to do with you. They want that person that they can't control.
Well, the word, you know what the word itself means etymologically? It means it's from the Latin rapiere, meaning to take by force. To take by force. Do you know isn't there a sword called a rapier?
Yep.
I mean,
Rapier. That's what I was thinking when you were saying that.
like fence. They
Rapier.
use it for fencing, don't they?
Yeah.
Fencing.
The French used to use it back in the day whenever they were like they had the Corsican brothers and stuff like that. They used to back in those days.
You talking
Yeah, they're
teaching?
common, especially I think the Napoleonic Wars. They're quite popular.
Okay. Yvonne, yeah, go ahead.
Hey.
Hey, man. Good to have you back. You're reconnecting here with us once again via Coquitlam, BC.
Yeah, sorry, I've been kind of out of it lately. Appreciate you calling me. And
Every
that
week.
means a lot.
Every
I know,
week.
thank you.
How's your job? How's your job going?
It's going well. I've been there about 6 weeks, and it's a bit tiring, but it's good. And I'm a chaplain at a CBSA holding facility. And I don't work for CBSA. I work for a company. I'm just contracted in. Yeah, it's going well. Very interesting people. Got all kinds.
Are they
So
stressed?
people-
And CBSA, just to be
Oh,
clear,
yeah,
because
yeah.
people, they don't. We need a little bit of context. Listeners will have no idea
so
what you're even talking
Canada,
about.
Sorry. So Canada Border Services Agency. I can't tell you too much. Basically, if you ever watched a TV show called Border Security, and it shows people at the border interviewing customs officers and that. And some people are handcuffed and frog marched out at YVR in Vancouver, and they come to me in Newton, Surrey, to the facility. So I work a lot with people from all over the world. It's very interesting work. So I'm kind of like as a multi-faith chaplain, it's sort of a counselor / spiritual director, all in one.
/ guru.
I don't know.
/
It's very
confidant.
good,
Confidant, really. Your spiritual kind of, confidant.
Yeah, one guy from India nicknamed me the Penguin. It's kind of
Well,
my wife calls me Penguin, so hey,
well,
Penguin.
Okay. So you've that's
It's quite interesting.
I would imagine you've
Yeah,
got
all kinds of different people. I mean, people doing drugs. Oh, somebody told me to carry this bag, and they paid for my ticket, but I didn't look in the bag, so it's not my fault that
Right.
there's, you know, heroin in there, is it? You know, like,
That's
are they
yeah.
dumb or just plain stupid? You know, like really,
Yeah.
just like a lot of people impulse control.
All they're being is happening is they're kicking them out of the country. They're not charging them and having them.
No, they're being held, and then they contact their home country and they get a kind of travel document or update their passport or whatever they need. Then most of them are sent home. Some try to go to court and see if they can stay. Some of them, one guy was here since 1974. Came over from England.
Yeah, drug smuggling charges, though, is what, before we get to him, drug smuggling.
It's not just that. That's just one of many.
Yeah, but something like that, why would they be sent home with drug smuggling charges to?
Well, it depends. Like the government of that country, they might punish them.
Right. What country was it?
I'm not going to say.
Oh, come on.
Somewhere in Europe.
Where?
In Europe.
Okay, so no execution, likely, hopefully.
Oh, no. So there's one interesting story. A guy, his father, family came over in 1974 from England, and he was a permanent resident all this time, never became a citizen. And then he did a petty crime where it gave more than 6 months. And because it was over 6 months, they arrested him, put him into the CBSA holding tank.
What kind of petty crime?
I don't know. It's just something very minor, like B&E or something.
Well, okay.
Like 9 months or a year.
Shoplifting, maybe. Yeah.
It might have been, but I mean, because it was over 6 months, he was deported the other day back to England.
Oh, so this is recent that he was charged with this crime.
Years.
Recently,
yeah, just a few weeks ago.
Oh my God! So, and can he ever re-enter Canada?
Maybe his father's funeral. His father's here, but anyway, so he's gone back to England for good, pretty much.
Oh yeah.
And so you get all kinds of interesting people. And forgive me, I can't get into too much.
Yeah, well, sure. This is your discretion.
But you get people like that are from Iran and that are Baha'i faith or Zoroastrians or something. If they go back, they're tortured and executed a lot of the time, or thrown in prison. And so you get all kinds of people from China.
Wait a minute. So you're saying that Canada is sending people? They're not sending people back to Iran that are Baha'i or Zoroastrian.
Well, they are, but I mean, like Canada, what they do, they ask. Well, I'm not going to get into it, but just
public record.
I know. I don't want to talk about it much. I'm trying to keep it. But I'm just saying that it's interesting. A lot of people are sent back to different countries. But right now they're trying to resist going back, say to Iran. So they try to, make it difficult.
Well, that should be that's a genuine case of political prisoner, someone who should be protected and be granted asylum. Frankly, that's a pretty clear.
That's
case.
Valid, but they look at say they did a violent crime in Canada. And they're like, well, no, they got to go back.
Yeah, sure, that's right. That's right.
You have to protect the people here.
That's right. Oh, for sure, that's right. Oh, yeah.
So we have Bible studies, religious discussions, and stuff, and it's quite interesting.
Did they realize some of them that they screwed up? Did some enter? How many entered the country illegally? 50, half of what you deal with have entered illegally.
I don't know. I think a lot. The typical person, they have a visa, might be a year, maybe. And then their visa runs out. They just don't think about it.
Oh, sure.
And then they're just driving around, and the cops are following them. They punch in their license plate. There's a flag. Their visas passed. They're illegal. And then they arrest them right there. take them CBSA.
I think there's 100,000 illegal Koreans in Canada alone. Last I checked,
Really?
this is years ago that I checked.
Yeah.
So, and the
It's
people,
hard to know.
yeah, wow,
A lot of them come to Canada and they head south to America.
that too, or vice versa. But now
Yeah,
things have
that's
the
true.
tides kind of shifted a little bit. Canada's getting so hard to live in. So the story goes.
Yeah, it's very expensive here now. A lot of people are leaving Vancouver. It's just too expensive.
Mm.
The whole area.
Mm.
Yeah. But things are good. And we're grateful. We're in good health.
You got some good friends and support network.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You go to
We're grateful
church
for
every
that.
Sunday, or
Yeah.
and what denomination is that once again?
Lutheran, very liberal Lutheran. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's good.
And counseling's going well too. I got clients.
Excellent.
And if anyone wants counseling, first half hour is always free. And get in touch, www.harpo.ca.
Did you get
video?
Oh, we always include your contact information in the show notes with the archive and
Thank you
things.
very
So
much.
yeah, that's the least we could do for you. Now,
I'm going to be in the election. I'm working one of the schools, and I voted. When I turned 18, our family's very liberal.
in the classic sense or the big L red machine party sense?
Was the middle question? But let me finish. I voted Pierre Trudeau, and got bloodshot eyes, stupidity, 18-year-old, 19. And then my eyes turned green, went Green Party. He gave the Liberals the finger. And this year's first time I voted blue.
Oh, yeah.
Eyes are blue.
Yeah,
see,
that's right.
Blue eyes.
How about
conservative?
But you don't think that Carney is not Canada's best representative?
Not my circus, not my monkeys. Don't want any carnies in my circus.
Yeah, exactly. And
Carney's a globalist.
Well, but it would surely, we would get. He would fix all the problems that Trudeau made, right? His party, same party.
Trudeau 2.0.
Yeah,
or worse. With Epstein too.
Or worse.
Most of my friends voting conservative.
What's that, Vinny?
You haven't seen that Carney has been pictured with Epstein as well, and Ghislaine.
Right. Yeah. That's right.
Ghislaine Maxwell. Yeah.
Going back to what year exactly? Was not.
Yeah.
Don't have the year, but the picture's all over Gab.
Oh, the Gab, the same platform where I've
that blocks you. I don't get that.
And DOS.
Syntax. Elon.
Denial of.
Put Jaffe back on.
Well, that's X. Yeah, X suspended both accounts, and I've just
Andrew Torba. Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know what's going on. It's just pretty. It's either NSA, CSI, CIA nonsense that they're operating. It's an outfit. If you look up the website, it's called Cloudfire. I think is it. I could do it from this end actually, and it's an endless denial of service. I'll turn off the screen share while I go about doing this. And it's a really sophisticated operation that they're running. You want to get anti-net neutrality. Well, this is a pretty good example. It's warfare via the interwebs on so many fronts. It's incredible and it's not like the upload rate or download speed. It's just basically blocking people or kicking them off platforms entirely. It's like thou shalt not pass, and then of course some topics you can talk about, others, oh no, you can't do that, or we're going to shut you down over that too, right? Or just the gaming of the algorithms, and the search results, of course, the search engine optimization business, that the SEO nonsense we often hear so much about.
Well, see, algorithm is a long way just to say jammer, because that's all it is. It's a jamming process.
So, yeah. I'll bring this up. Let me bring this up.
Okay.
So here we go. Gab.com piece. Sorry, you've been blocked. Unable access Gab. Why have I been blocked? Blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, it might need to protect itself from online attacks. This action, you know, and what can I do to resolve this? Oh, Cloudflare. There we go. And then you click good old Cloudflare. You were doing paid comment, and Cloudflare found, okay. Well, and you look at the level of sophistication of Cloudflare, like it's massive. Learn more about Cloudflare. Do you have a website? And then all of this nonsense here, like there's a lot of money that's gone into this critical infrastructure defense project. That wouldn't have anything to do with the military industrial intelligence, deep state, you know, community, would it by any chance? Like,
You're just
white
paranoid about it.
papers. So yeah, well done, Cloudflare. Yeah, I'll give them all the credit. I don't know if I'd necessarily blame Torba. It could be on his end, but I think it's these jerks, you know. So, anyways, enough of that.
That's where this third party scumbaggery.
When people chant my name, I hear freedom. Okie dokie. Good enough. Good stuff there. Well, freedom, chayu. Yeah, freedom. Yeah, chayu. Yeah. Chayu. Freedom is a Korean word. Yeah. So, alrighty. I think we should maybe cut away for a commercial break. Before we do that, however, let's have everyone get an opportunity to have their voices heard one more time, starting with Sonia, over to Christian, Roger, and Vinny, let's start with you, and then up to Sonia as we see her on our screen. Christian, Roger, and Yvonne.
Oh well, okay. Well, I got a bunch of cool stuff that I just put up today. Like I said, the John Rich video on Trump, his awareness of the butt jab.
Who is John Rich? Just to be clear,
John Rich is a country singer.
Oh,
and the owner of Old Glory Bank, along with two other people. I forget their names, but the first American bank, by the way, right? Not associated with the Federal Reserve. I'm looking to get an account with them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what we need. Yeah. I mean, the whole thing is the banks, right?
Of course.
The biggest danger.
Of course. Yeah. So that's going to really piss off the powers that be. That they're
that's just our grace, man. They've been screwing around. They've been hogging everything and wasting resources, right? And now we're going to take them back and not waste them.
All wars, as the old saying goes, all wars are bankers' wars. And,
boom.
Yeah, and they're not trust me, they're not the ones out on the front lines. They're the ones hiding behind the scenes.
They're the dumb cutouts being paid to be stupid.
Doing all they can just to cash in and generate as much blood money as they can. So, okay, so anything more regarding John Rich, the Canst project, your BitChute channel, GMNO over on.
Yeah, just hit the channels, all kinds of fun stuff there. I found there was a video purportedly of Donald Trump dancing on Soul Train. It was not Donald Trump, but he used it for the campaign.
You could maybe overlap an AI version.
Oh no, it's just not Donald Trump, right? But it's just so funny. It's just really funny.
What I'm saying is you could update it. You could just kind of update it to make it look.
I've been thinking of doing it, but my AI skills are crap.
Well, I'm not saying. I mean like someone in general could. I'm not mean
I hope
you.
Someone does
One could. Yes. So, anyways, is that about it for now? Until we return from commercial break via Vinny from Brooklyn.
Hi, Captain.
Oh, okay. And I got a question for Yvonne here too. So don't run away or duck out just now, Yvonne. Actually, Yvonne, I might as well ask you now. Did you? I think I tried to draw to your attention the fact that I've got that stomping Tom. Okay, maybe him too. But Stomping Tom tribute song. Kind of like the way that rolls off the tip of the tongue. And that the 51st State. Those two songs that I recorded back in the day. Did you get the message from me? or not, where I asked if, because you'd mentioned those friends connections you have out in the East Coast, you could potentially send the links to them, get them to listen, London Air, check out the 2 tunes and see, because as an indie songwriter, I would love nothing more than someone, if they're so inclined, to take what I've put out there and either re-record, reinvent, or
Well, the one there, the song "I Love You" you wrote, "Sad-Eyed Lady of the Northlands."
right.
I sent that to Kinky Friedman
Yeah,
before he passed away.
Yeah, you killed him, man. It's all your fault.
Yeah. No, well, his personal secretary said he'd make sure Kinky listened to them. This was last year.
Oh, good for you.
So,
good stuff.
yeah, I didn't hear anything back from him. But for when it's sing back, he used to talk about Friends or something, or who?
You had the people you mentioned. See, I think I sent this to you on Skype, just kind of behind the scenes personal message. These connections you have in the East Coast.
There are 2 songs he sent.
Yeah, the friends that you mentioned.
They're just friends of mine that are musicians. I don't know.
They're well. No, I think it's a father-daughter combo. They're well connected. If you mention their names again, I would be able to tell.
Father-daughter combo?
I thought, yeah. I mean, they work kind of together at times or independently. I might be off there, but East Coast, and we'll talk about it later if it doesn't.
It doesn't ring any bells.
Don't worry about
right
it.
Now.
Yeah.
It's sorry.
Someone that you mentioned on an earlier podcast. You brought their names up, talking about. Just trying to think the context exactly, their work or your time meeting them, and because you grew up where in the East Coast did you grow up?
Moncton,
New Brunswick.
Yeah.
I
mean, my cousin, she's a blues singer.
Not her.
Quite well known.
Mm-hmm. What's her name?
Yeah, Teresa Malaffa.
No, wasn't her you mentioned. No.
Yeah. I have friends of mine. They're songwriters. Gilbert Babin.
No. These are English songwriters.
But they're from Canada.
Oh yeah, like East Coast. Like I think like on the festival circuit, you probably bumped into them. And immediately when you mentioned their names, it's like I recognize that name. So, anyways, we'll talk about it later. Yeah, it'll come to you eventually.
Are you thinking of Gene McClellan and his daughter Catherine McClellan?
Ah, now we're talking. Yes.
Okay, well, Gene McClellan died. Catherine McClellan, she's still around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, she does all kinds of albums and touring.
No. Yeah, these would not be songs for her. That's not what I'm thinking off the top of my head. Just passing on, and so that she could lend an ear, and maybe she could come up with some ideas, whether she could get the music on to someone else, or have an idea of re-recording in some way, but not her necessarily.
Sure.
Yeah, but the McClellans, yes. So, okay. Yeah, that would be much appreciated. Would you be able
Gene Snowbird McClellan.
Yeah. Right, exactly. That was the context. So he wrote Anne Murray's Snowbird. Is that right?
And Put Your Hand in the Hand.
No kidding.
Yep. Nice guy. Yeah.
Put your hand in the hand of the man. Da, 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 da.
Still the water. Yeah.
Put your hand in the hand of the man.
Hand in the fan.
Oh, come on.
Put your hand in the fan. You might lose a finger.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Very good.
Yeah, nice guy.
Oh, by the way, before we finish with Canadian music conversation, that's a little mini segment for the week. Gordon Lightfoot, If I Could Read Your Mind. It's a great documentary for any Gordon Lightfoot fans. You can easily access it via torrents or through other means, whatever works for you, obviously. But
I think I watched that. It was very good.
Anne Murray appeared on. She chimed in. What the hell was Alec Baldwin doing on there anyways? I was not happy to see that.
I saw a Gordon Lightfoot documentary a year ago. It might not have been this one. But it was about, it talked about, being brought up in, where's the Aurelia or something, somewhere in Ontario.
Yeah. I think that's right. That's right.
Something like that.
That's right. Really beautiful.
But in his life, it was kind of cool, yeah.
And
there's actually a really good show called So Long Marianne, about Leonard Cohen meeting Marianne in Haida, Greece.
Yeah.
And
Jeez, did I
really
watch
good
that?
show,
I-
late
I'm-
50s through the 60s.
Right.
And you can see it on different cable channels. It's
Mm.
called So Long Marianne. And it's kind of like a lot of it's true story, but it's very interesting, very compelling.
Wait a minute. Are you saying it's a
TV show?
Oh, I see. Okay, so they have actors in place of
Yeah.
Cohen, and
The guy looks like Cohen, but he doesn't sing very well.
Oh, so well. Speaking of which, that the young fellow who pulled off the Bob Dylan role in that recent release, what was it, Long Way from Home or something? One of the lyrics from like a Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
That he was amazing, just bloody amazing, and I don't think he played guitar or sang or nothing until at times like this dude's got some pretty just natural talent. So kudos.
Did you see the movie?
No, not yet.
Me neither. I want to see it.
What's it called? Is it No Direction Home or something?
That sounds right.
Something like that. Anyways, but there we go. All right.
Anne Diamond, like the lady that helps me with the book also for the French version.
Yeah.
She was going out with Cohen. She wrote a book on him.
Oh, right. Yeah, you told us that.
What's it called?
My friend, I don't remember the name of the title, but it's Anne Diamond that wrote. It's on Cohen, like my friend or something like that. Like she was going out with him for a while. Like she traveled a bit with him too.
Yeah.
So
she I presume surnames such as Diamond, she'd be Jewish as well, correct?
No, it's like her
stage name.
Yeah, her
Nom de
stage name,
guerre,
like she's
nom
like
de
later-
plume.
Yeah,
Neil Diamond.
Yeah. Oh, he's got Parkinson's now, doesn't he?
Mm.
Or something like that. He's struggling with some nose picking issues on camera.
Sorry.
Jesus.
My bad.
bloody penguin, I tell ya. These
Yeah, by
penguin.
the way, speaking of Neil Diamond, you know that song "Coming to America"?
Yeah.
You know, from that movie.
Yeah.
You did. Well, you show Trump kind of cartoon Orange Man. He's like going from America, kind of like a spoof of it.
Sounds like a parody.
Like,
So what, you're not telling me Neil Diamond sang
going
it?
from America.
You could get it.
No, but it'd be funny if you had like Trump singing "Going from America."
Well, and
like all the people being thrown out of the country.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Kind of stupid.
Yeah. Going from
Be funny.
Canada too. So
I was going to cook alligator for dinner, but realized I only had a crock pot.
oh, well, that, of course, yeah, that'll never
Crock
fly.
pot.
That's right. Yeah, you got some
Yeah.
pretty crocky jokes.
I know.
We're
Are
speaking
you
of
doing okay, Jaffe, these days? How you doing?
Yeah, except for the bad puns.
The Man Next
Bad
Door,
puns.
the book.
And Diamond.
Next
Well,
door.
I'll tell hey, you know what's listen,
Diamond's our girl's best friend.
yeah, and Leonard Cohen's for a time as well too, from the sounds of things. Yeah.
Yeah.
But let me
Leonard
just say,
Cohen's answering machine. Sorry, I can't come to the phone right now. I'm right in the middle of someone.
It was supposedly in MK also.
you're
too.
kidding.
Like,
Was it really?
Yeah, and like Anne Diamond is also like a victim from like the Allen Memorial.
Oh, Leonard
And,
Cohen. Leonard Cohen was one. He basically underwent therapy, didn't he?
I don't think he went there. No.
I saw pictures. I saw old pictures of him. It looked to be him, and it would not surprise me in the least if it was him. He struggled with depression for I think his whole life, and psychological. The guy was.
I've never seen anything saying he was involved with Ewan Cameron and the Ellen Institute.
Well, but he went there of his own free will and accord, I believe, is what it could have been.
I've never heard anything.
We'll look into it.
He's been involved with Scientology.
He was. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
But at that, and then Zen
I have
Buddhism.
friends of mine that were in the Ellen Institute
What's
It's really
that?
sad
Pardon me?
stories. Friends that were in there.
You're kidding.
Yeah, I went there
They're
too.
doing
Zen
like
Buddhism,
But
though,
not
is where he
with
ended up,
Cameron.
Yvonne. Zen Buddhism. So,
First, we'll
yeah.
take Manhattan.
Mount Baldy. Yeah.
And then we'll take Berlin. That's right. Yeah. Great songwriter, though, man. I love.
One of the
listen,
best.
hey, you want to check out a great song that's really timely? Check out. I mean, I'm looking back. It's like, what the fuck? 30 years ago? Are you kidding me? The Future.
Yeah.
It's a title cut from the album, obviously of the same name. You know, that was released back circa, I think it was 94 or 5. So that's
around
30
there.
some years. It's a great song, man. You want to
Yeah.
talk, like the future, it is murder. And things are going to slide in all directions. Won't be nothing you can measure anymore. The future.
Yeah. Same with the song Democracy.
Democracy is coming to the USA. That's right. Yeah.
And, I'm sure you wonder if some people might think of Trump with that, but I don't know.
Well, yeah, exactly. You can read into it, I guess, kind of what you like, right? So,
Yeah.
But I think Cohen would probably like Trump for his staunch pro-Israel position. Presumably, it could be wrong. I don't think Cohen would be down with the genocide. I just can't see that. But it is what it is. As far as
it's pretty complicated.
Did you missed out the medics that were just butchered in cold blood? They got it all on camera too, which is interesting because if they hadn't, they would, the IDF would have to really spin things even further than what they did, as far as the propaganda distortion, trying to perception management is what it boils down to, folks. It's all about mind control, perception. It's like, these are not the Jedis you were looking for.
Right in your face. That's right.
Yeah. Well, it's not a holy war. I mean, it's both sides are equally guilty of crimes.
Both sides are certainly not equally armed.
No, but they're equally guilty.
It's David and Goliath.
Killing.
And you talk about, and the thing that really irks me is the anti-Semitism. The reality of what anti-Semitism actually is, how that term has been weaponized.
How dare you, you bigot? How dare you?
It's totally fraudulent. Most of the majority, as far as I can tell, the majority of the Ashkenazis are European outside. They're interlopers. They have no historic ties to that region whatsoever. Zero. If you look at the way that they converted, it was totally, they are the descendants of a group of Khazars who converted in, I think was it Vinny, the 8th or 9th century, out of the eastern Black Sea Caucasus region. That's where white people come from, right? Not Semites, right?
Or like that.
Caucasian. Yeah. So
it was in Romania, Azerbaijan, and Georgia.
Yeah. I mean, it's a total Rothschild type, pet project, basically, that goes back to historical context, the Balfour Declaration. That was Jacob Rothschild's proudest, most coveted possession. He talks about it openly in this one interview that he put together just a few years before he died. The Balfour Declaration.
Well, Jeffy, another thing he got to do was to get us to drink, to believe in this whole thing called pasteurized milk. Raw milk doesn't spoil.
Oh yeah, I mean it's just incredible. The whole it's like and once again, freedom of choice. What we're putting in our bodies, and with food, with what we drink or smoke or snort, or people. And if people are dumb enough, if people are really that stupid, like I don't even think people should be revived. Frankly, if they get sucked into that life where they're out in the streets doing hard drugs, fentanyl, and so forth, just
being dopey
this
about
is
it,
kind of that's where you've got to, and like the emergency rescue, what do they call them, the emergency rescue teams?
The EMTs, right?
Yeah. Like they find themselves all too many instances going back multiple times in one day, or the course of just a couple of days to revive and resuscitate the same person for the same
Well,
reason.
Indian partiers and wasters and things like that.
Where do they get all that money? I have no idea. Just to
From
purchase.
us.
The Zionists are backing up, Rothschilds and all, but what's worrying is that the food industry and all, they're owning everything, and they all practice Talmud, and Talmud we're all Goyans, and Goyans is
cattle, human cattle.
Yeah, that's it. And they say that to kill every last one of the Goyim, even if they're good Goyim. That's their religion.
Yeah.
And they have ownership of all the food industry, all the it's people have to wake up, people have to talk about this, because it's the main problem, everybody has an asshole. Every country has a Zionist in their fucking politic. So yeah.
2 F-bombs. That's 10 doubloons. You got the
Sorry.
1 complimentary free pass.
Hi, Captain.
Hey. So, but Christian, before we let you go here, before we cut away to break, I've actually, speaking of songs, I've written another song. I wrote it years ago for Leonard. It's called Dear Leonard. I could re-record. It's just like a scratch indie demo. Yvonne has heard it. And I haven't gone to the studio or nothing. It's just like me sitting here with Audacity, just recording it straight off the computer. And that's all you need to do. And because someone does have a studio and they have all the gear and everything can easily put a high quality product together. It's that simple. If they like what they hear, they can easily work with things. So I'd like to send that to you. If I come across, I got to find it here. I got to track it down. I don't know where it's hiding out at. It's called Dear Leonard, and it's a really cool song, man. And so you pass it on to Anne. Is she doing okay? She's not another musician that's going to die or that I'm going to kill if it ends up in her hands.
She's fine. She's super active. She's gonna as soon as Robert is done the editing in English, she's gonna do the French version, and
that is really cool, man. Is she still out in Montreal area or where exactly?
Yeah, but she also lives in Greece. She just came back last week. So
what did she do for herself? She's got to be probably in her 60s, 70s. What did she do?
70s.
Okay, what did career-wise, what did she do throughout the course of her life?
She wrote books. She was living on an island with a bunch of artists in the 60s.
Wow.
With Cohen and all, and
wow. We got to get her on the show.
She has the wildest life.
Oh my God, we got to get her on the show, okay? I know because it sounds like you know her quite well, and you could put a good. And Robert's show too. He manages to reach a wider number of people, but ours is still a lot of fun, obviously.
Sure.
So definitely, that'd be so cool, man. 1 degree of bacon. Do you know what that means? 1 degree of bacon.
Well, not really, but she's. Go ahead, explain, please.
You've heard of 6 degrees of bacon or 6 degrees of separation?
No.
Well, it's who wants to explain this? Yvonne probably could do a pretty decent job, or Roger, maybe. But from the top, the creme de la creme, en français, creme de la creme, to just the lowliest slaves.
Well, 6 degrees of separation looks at that, or 7 degrees. It talks about how everybody on the planet are basically 7 relationships away from each other.
Freudian slip. Sexy what? Sex.
And Bacon. I think Kevin Bacon had some. It said 7 degrees from Kevin Bacon. I think that was the original idea, wasn't it?
Yeah, we did it, and we've done a synthesis. It's 6 degrees of bacon. So you take 6 degrees of separation, and then 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, and we just synthesize it to 6 degrees of bacon. That's our thing. Trademark. Yeah, but you know what's interesting? Bacon. I guess some certain Orthodox Jews do not, nor do Muslims. And here's the thing. Guess what has been happening here in Korea, apparently, Yvonne? There's been efforts to build mosques in certain cities around the country, and every time that there's a project that is picking up momentum, there's a lot of pork that ends up appearing in the immediate vicinity, whether pig corpses or just a lot of like a big pork type barbecues. Or
Really?
you know, yeah, which in South Korea you can get away with. In Canada it'd be declared a hate crime, obviously, you know.
Yeah.
So
South Korea, it's called passive aggressive.
well, it's the way to shut things down, or it's
Yeah.
very you want to shut shit down. It's like that's the way to do it. So that's how they handle things.
Little Twitchy Caldy.
Exactly.
Little-
Sonia,
What's it
and then
called?
Roger, and then we got to cut away to break.
Bokum Bob.
That's right. You still eat a lot of Korean, and we're not
I
talking.
had Jayuk Bokdap for dinner tonight. It's delicious.
Yeah, we're not talking your
Spicy pork.
your bedroom habits necessarily either here. So, but yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Go ahead,
I
Sonia.
love Korean food.
Eating
I'm that
Korean,
big.
huh? So, okay, Sonia.
ahead.
Ew. What do you want? What's up?
Well, we're cutting away to break. Any just thing that you like to throw out there
Okay.
that we missed out on?
Yeah, I would like to say that I think Christian had a grand idea earlier about having you read his book. I think that's a great idea.
You're kind of hot for him, aren't you?
A little bit. I mean, come on.
It's those MK Ultra tattoos. That's
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. We talked about. He mentioned that behind the scenes here just like a week or so ago, and we'll see. We'll give it a shot and see how it plays out. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Fingers crossed. It'll. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I've never. Yeah. AI does a pretty good job too, but at the same time,
No.
fuck AI.
No
It's
AI.
like,
Not for that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Is that it, Sonia, then? Galacticfire.com, and of course we will be back after the break. Whether we see the likes of any of the rest of you here or not, I have no idea. But anything more as far as what's on your mind or bullet points, what you'd like to touch on?
I found
after
out
the break?
that there's many brands of yogurt, actually most of the brands of yogurt that are out there in the world, at least in the Western United States, do not have I think it's a bacillus. It's the one that starts with a B, but that particular brand or strain of bacteria in it, which is the one that's supposed to do all the healing that everybody's buying yogurt for.
We've got we've got natural yogurt here in our house.
Yeah.
We just add milk. We eat it and then just add more milk and then.
I don't know if I want to know about that really.
Natural yogurt?
Actually.
Yeah.
I don't know. We took natural bacteria.
Yeah, bacillus bacteria. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Bifidus, something like that.
That's the good stuff, is it?
Apparently.
Well,
I just thought that was like fucked up that they put it on the label, but it's not even in there.
Really?
I mean,
no,
that's how many
false.
things are like that?
How's that not false advertising? Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Bait and switch.
So,
my God.
What's up, Roger?
I was just saying that's a good point that you brought up there because it's been out for a while, but barely anybody even freaking knows that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's almost general knowledge. It was out before the internet, most likely.
How can they get away with that?
Exactly.
People are stupid, dude.
Well, there's no enforcement. There's no enforcement.
Nobody even reads the label, let alone, like,
What do you mean? I thought you said it says that it contains.
Yeah. But who even reads? Who pays attention to labels?
But actually, the truth is, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Well, but then it's up to the law enforcement with their quick to hunt down all kinds of
gonna do something about that. I don't
pot
know.
smokers.
I think someone should. I mean,
that's
a great lawsuit.
Not the corporatists, corporate industrialists. Hands off.
All they need are the test results.
I don't support socialist reform. I say stop depending on the government and do shit yourself. Read.
Yeah, I agree, Roger. Totally.
You know what I mean? It's like freaking
DIY.
Everybody's getting all up into this socialist shit, saying the government needs to do this for me. You know,
They're not
freaking.
daddy. I mean, come on.
It's like
I
the
mean,
cops, man. It's like, look, if I need your help, if I want your help, I'll call you. Otherwise, just you've probably got more important things to take care of.
Well, how do we
I
get
just
into this
don't.
into the first place, right? By letting other people make decisions for us.
What's
Yeah.
that?
Right.
Kind of born into it.
How we got into this in the first place is letting other
Mhm.
people make decisions for us.
The programming's passed down from generation to
Whoa.
generation.
Well,
Yeah.
that's right, exactly. And then with the formation of a super, I don't know if you say supra, but the super bureaucracy on steroids, basically.
I'd
There's
say
just
anti-super.
not in
You
a
know,
good, yeah.
I wouldn't give
Yeah.
him no super energy, you know,
Well,
unless
bureaucracy
it's
in
anti-super.
yeah. It's well, hey, look what Dodge has been doing in the States, right? With the Department of Government Efficiency, they've been. I mean,
don't-
a lot of bureaucrats getting
Yeah.
the axe from the sounds of things. And the thing
So
about,
China
you know what's
is-
interesting? Do you know about this? We might have mentioned last week. Actually, is I'm not sure if that's the case or not, but do you know what happens? The difference between quitting and getting fired when you're a government worker. Do you know what that boils down to?
What?
If you quit before you get fired, you're still able to, in many cases, keep your pension.
Okay. Usually it's kind of like with unemployment, it was like you had to get fired, you couldn't quit kind of thing. So it's like the opposite or what?
What are you talking?
Well,
To
when
collect
you were,
unemployment?
yeah, you have to, you can't
Well,
quit your job and get unemployment. You have to
sometimes
be
there's a good
fired for
reason to
something or
quit.
relieved.
Well, sometimes
Maybe so.
there's good or several good reasons
Yeah,
to quit.
that would be a matter of them to, like, they would have to decide all that apparently, but the whole rule of thumb, as they say, was that you couldn't get unemployment if you quit your job.
Is that in the
That was
States?
the big thing when I was a kid. Yeah.
USA?
Here in the United States, what you're talking about is called tenure. Like if you have tenure, then you can quit and you can get compensation for the
Yeah.
amount
And
of money.
tenure, what does that mean, Roger? Tenure?
Well, you got to get
Tenure-
past 9 year first to get tenure.
I know,
Past
right?
8 and
It's
then
not
9
10
year.
years though. It doesn't mean 10 years, right?
Are you?
Right.
Is that something
No.
you're
Like
saying?
seniority
What
or
happens
something? I
if
don't know.
if you got 11 years? You're definitely in. You're well past. You've totally
Yeah.
made it.
What does it mean, Roger?
Well, tenure is basically where a person goes in and they work for a firm and they work their way up. And whenever you've worked there for, say, 20 years, they give you tenure, which means that, well, not even 20 years, but what it is when you get that tenure, it doesn't matter what happens. You get the full amount of money that you're going to be earning as long as you don't quit the job.
Golden
Or-
parachute.
depends on-
As long as
Golden parachute.
Depends on contribution rather than the time you work there, right? Is that what you're saying?
Right. It goes according to like status too.
The
Right,
academic,
right.
academia, you find that, quite common, really. I mean, even
Yeah, academia is
universities here in
completely corrupted.
Korea.
I mean, that's where all the filtering goes on.
We're
Man,
talking
6
just with
degrees of
tenure.
separation. The 6 degrees of separation that kind of fits into what we were talking about. And all I got to say on that is, don't be fucking your cousins.
What?
I already know that shit from being in the Midwest. You know?
I mean,
Hand jobs completely all right. Not a problem. Even a little bit of
right.
a little bit of
You can do that.
you
If
can
she's hot.
swallow,
No,
don't
Roger,
spit.
what?
You
If
can swallow,
she's hot.
but definitely no
Ew!
penetration.
Oh,
She's
my.
got some pretty hot cousins sometimes. Come
Oh
on.
my
As long as
gosh.
she's hot. If you got a hot cousin, you can let her kind of play around with it a little
Wow.
Let's get it
Come
on.
Don't be
on.
putting
down.
nothing
Come
in
on,
there.
Mr.
Yeah.
Illinois.
Big
Come
L heaven, man.
on. Come on. Super
I'm just-
Midwest, bro.
And Canada, there's only one problem I have with Canada.
Not enough
And
cousin
you got-
fucking.
No, you guys need,
Ew!
you guys need to stop that heartland shit, okay?
What's
I mean,
that?
how many years do you have to torture the freaking world by putting Heartland on the television?
What the hell
Okay,
is
that's-
Heartland? It's a
I
Canadian
have no
TV
idea.
series.
Yes, it's
Crap.
probably the most excruciating,
Yeah.
painful.
Well, that's why
Like Little
God
House on the
invented the
Prairie,
remote
or what?
control.
It's worse than Little House on the Prairie.
God.
Yeah. How about Little Mosque on the
Wow.
Prairie?
Lawrence Welk.
Did you hear about Little Mosque on the Prairie? Talk about predictive programming, which, mind control. It's like, oh, look, it's a little mosque on the prairie. What could
I didn't
possibly
hear
go
that.
wrong with
I don't know what
this?
you're talking about.
Oh,
Hey.
Canada's version. It's a take on Little House on the
Oh,
Prairie. The little
okay,
mosque,
okay.
like, come on, bring in all the Muslims. No problem. It's all good. Yay. Canada,
I
we're
mean,
so
it's like,
free and
this is one of those
yay.
bad jokes, dude.
I guess, yeah, because I really
Like,
don't get it.
You know when he's trying to say a joke and it just sucks.
No.
You know?
Is that only-
Most of them
okay,
do
I'll keep that in
actually.
mind. Thank you, Roger. You've
Not
been very
all of them.
helpful this whole
Not
time,
ev-
Roger.
not all of them. You
You're
do
a
have
great
good
support to my online experience. I really appreciate you, Roger.
Little Mosque on the
Just wanna let
Prairie.
you know
No,
that.
there was a series. I don't think it's around anymore. I might be mistaken. Little Mosque on the
I'm gonna
Prairie.
search.
Okay,
search
let me
that
just
out.
and before we cut away to break, Jonathan
What a
Womack.
nerd.
We just saw on screen here, Jonathan. I believe his
You're
middle
gonna have to
initial
get some nerd glasses with your pirate hat there.
once again is Jay Womack. Could our potential guest coming up here this Friday night? Yeah, so that's what we're looking at, folks. Or we'll just take a break. That's always welcome too. Or if I really get around to it, a decent amount of energy on the go, we could even put together the Minds World Indie Music Roundtable. So just get you to mute out, Roger. We're going to cue up the commercial interlude here. Pardon me?
Something real quick. Can I
What?
say something? Just one.
I guess
real
if you insist.
He's right, dude. There actually is a little mosque on the prairie. I could not believe that. That's horrible.
Talk about communist brainwashing. Yeah, it's pretty bad. So,
Well,
Vinny,
it's just bad television. That's all.
yeah,
No big
it's
deal.
just terrible. Just like it's programming. They call it programming for a reason. So, is it still on? I hope they ended it years ago. It's just disgusting. Like this, give me a break. How about I don't know. It's no Islam for the Middle East. Fine, wonderful. Fly, go for it. But to import, it's called the Hydra. I think it's called the Hydra. Yeah, where they export and just buy the sword, and if you don't submit, then you're paying the tax, the Muslim tax, right? Either death or pay the conversion, death or pay the Muslim tax, because you're kind of like a goy, you're a kafir, infidel, outsider, right? You're the other, and we were all about freedom and respect for rights and so forth when we were in the minority. Now that we've gained the majority foothold, look out, tables have turned, and we're going to totally assert ourselves here in a big way, and you will submit. In fact, we're going to bring in Sharia law as well. That's what's well underway. So, and within the context of everything, including what Christian has brought up, I think it's important to look at Albert Pike's The Three World War, the letters, the way that they've essentially powers that be orchestrating things, including in conjunction with the Kalergi plan, another Freemason, Count Kalergi. Look into it, folks. It's amazing the way the big media outlets don't get it. This is just all lost on them. You never hear about this at all, right? It's like it's completely gone over their heads, or they don't know about it, or they just choose to ignore the truth because I guess they fear the consequences. Speaking of pensions, unemployment insurance, and the like, Vinny, I'm not sure why you have your hand raised, but it might be an idea to lower it if you can. So, Red Dragon Herbs and Teas, folks. Let us remind you, in case you were not aware, that with any order of $25 or more, you will immediately receive a 10% discount. All you simply have to do is let Ryan or his wife know one of two things, either simply Pirate Radio or Pirate Code. Meanwhile, on the CanaSense Cannabis Collective front, our referral link number is simply 5813. That's 5813. We'll be back in just a flash here. Mateys, don't touch that computer mouse or radio dial.
Get the Cannabis is now legal by telemedicine. Get the medicine you need by getting reviewed for a medical cannabis card. Contactless appointments available at Cannasense.com. For as low as $39, you can get reviewed for a medical cannabis card. That's Cannasense.com for a licensed medical cannabis doctor review. Cannasense.com has all the information you need to get connected with a doctor for a $39 medical cannabis appointment. Cannasense.com. Cannasense is common sense.
Catering exclusively to the Des Moines, Iowa area and beyond. Red Dragon Herbs and Teas is a small, family-owned business dedicated to the creation of only the finest quality artisan herbal tea blends. Drawing upon many of the world's most richly established customs and traditions, Red Dragon Herb's mission is about more than just getting their products out to the market. They also strive to help educate their customers on the wider benefits, history, and folklore of all their plants. Of course, any seasoned pirate knows when they're fixin' to tango with the Kraken, you best be powered up with at least one of the finest select quality premium items freely offered via Red Dragon Herbs and Teas wide inventory. Choosing from any of their caffeine-free headache relief or rest and relaxation blends, history has proven their products among the best sources of scurvy prevention and vitamin supplementation. Red Dragon Herbs and Teas, bringing you guaranteed homegrown health relief.
And we got that, doing that almost every week, don't we? Cutting in there right at the tail end of things. But whatever the case, we are back here bringing you guaranteed homegrown health relief, Red Dragon Herbs and Teas. And let's not forget about the Cannabis Collective, Cannasense Cannabis Collective. Great to have you with us here for the tail end of what we have to present this fair spring day, April the 9th, actually, here via South Korea. Early afternoon, little different type time slot than what people in the West are looking at, obviously. It's one of the great things to the technology we currently have at our fingertips. This meta-modern apocalyptic age that we find ourselves living in, largely techno-kraken driven apocalyptic age, I would argue. Some of it in a good way, not as bad as it may sound, and well, there's other factors and variables that enter into the picture, which make life a little more challenging for people, where they're just not able to avoid conflict and misery, unfortunately, which is something that is, it's an all too present, set of variables here in this earthly realm. Obviously, this material earthly realm. So, if people can actually see through the illusion, however, as what Eastern philosophy awakens us to, drawing our attention to the fact of how is really what we're born into, and what we have and laid out in front of us is Maya, the veil of illusion, the matrix. That that changes things in a big way. So, but as far as the apocalypse itself, and South Korean court upholding President Yoon's impeachment, stripping out of office. We did report on that just a number of days ago, actually. Have that content in place via the archives. If for anyone who's interested in checking that out, I had a couple folks drop in and lend some support. I think, Roger, you along with Alan out of Australia, as a matter of fact, were the pair that helped to lead the charge during that particular show. Was that not the case?
Which show was it again?
Yoon's impeachment. It was Alan. Maybe was it not you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was the one that was wanting to know all about that, because you're talking about the Korean guy that just got in trouble, right?
Yeah, he got stripped of all of his presidential powers, essentially.
I was the one that kept bringing it up to you. Yeah.
Well, he wanted martial law, man. He tried to attempt a military coup. So, not a good thing. Vinny, you got your hand raised. Why don't we let you have at it?
All right. I just got for a moment here. If you ever get lost in the mountains, right? There's a 9-second video on my channel which will show you how to make a whistle out of a branch.
Yep.
Vines and a reed.
Right.
Like a thin leaf.
Yeah,
right? But the most important thing, Jeffy, is don't ever forget your high beams.
High beams? With your car?
Titties. No, titties.
What are you talking about?
You see in the video.
Oh man, I don't know.
High beams is code word for titties.
Is that right, Vinny?
That's correct, sir.
You're saying getting lost in the woods. I mean, that can be a pretty dangerous thing these days. My dad and I had a really. Well, I still don't know what that means. I'm not picking up on that. Like, what, sexual surrender or something? But my dad and I were out trailblazing when I was a kid. We camped out this one night near a river, and I think, I'm not sure if it was during, or we took as like nap time, because we were kind of pretty bushed as it was, or it was, it was during the evening. But there was something that came. It could have been. I don't know if it was a bear or what, man, but it was making a hell of a lot of noise, crashing and thrashing through the bush, and it didn't really have to do that, It came right up to the tent and was. You'd hear it sniffing around, and geez, I think we had our rifles with us, hunting rifles. I had a 22, which was not much to that. If you're gonna try to take down a grizzly, just to irritate, unless you get some lucky shot off, I suppose. But I think Dad, like, probably a 30-06, little higher caliber sort of deal on hand. But yeah, it was really strange, and just so I have no idea. It's left open to the world of speculation. His response to it is like, nah, it's probably just a squirrel. Can you believe it? I mean, I think he said that so that I wouldn't get all that freaked out, probably, be all that worried. As a dad, I think, is that a bear or what? Nah, just squirrels, don't worry, go to sleep. So,
Bigfoot.
What's that?
Bigfoot. You saw Bigfoot?
I didn't see nothing. No, I didn't see any. It might have been Bigfoot. Didn't see him. It was something really strange, weird, that it was just making way more noise than what it had to be, though. And in a sense of maybe trying to communicate to us that it was coming and on its way, to be ready. And I wasn't sure if we were going to get attacked or what exactly. So that would not have
Shoot
been.
them and eat them.
Well, maybe. We could have been the ones who finally managed to bag Bigfoot, and that's only because we were attacked, right? So,
Everybody's all trying to be all humanitarian about Bigfoot, dude. I'm like, I'll shoot him and I will eat him, dude. I want to see what Bigfoot tastes like.
With West Frankfurt, are you is that like a rural type setting community where you're able to, without too much trouble, head out into the sticks or do a little wilderness adventuring?
Yeah, I can go out into the country and stuff. It's like, this is the kind of town where you don't like take your motorcycles through town because the cops will chase you. This is like back in the day, the way towns used to be.
Oh, you don't find too many gangs of Hell's Angels parading up and down the streets, and right?
The dirt bikes is what I'm talking about.
Oh, so they can get away with it. The big choppers with the loud. That always pisses me off. Those loud, what are they, mufflers that don't muffle very well? As how what are they called? Noise suppressors that are supposed to have, are they not? But I mean, if I was a cop, I would love nothing more than just to pull over those really, and some cars too. I guess they do it for the cool factor. It's like, hey, chicks, check this out. You know what they say? The bigger your growl, the bigger your,
cock.
The more you'll howl.
Yeah. What are you doing talking? What are you doing talking farm animals? What's this got to do with chickens?
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, see, yeah, there you go, man.
From Bigfoot to noise suppressors to chickens. I don't get it.
Yeah, baby.
Jeez.
No, like what you do is you get a small truck, okay, and you put glass pack mufflers on them. Then you drive it through a town that has maybe about 500 people in it at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
You ever heard glass pack mufflers?
No.
They're awesome, dude. They just, everything echoes, you know what I'm saying? So say you get a Honda, one of those little Honda trucks, put them suckers on there and just drive through towns like that, dude. It just sends an echo and bounces off all the freaking walls, man. Next thing you know, all the cops are hunting you down, wanting to. That's fun, dude. I'm gonna tell you right now, there ain't nothing worse than freaking picking on old people in the middle of a small town, dude. Because them cops will come
good old boys.
Yeah.
Meaning no harm.
Then when they pull you over, you're like in this really, really small vehicle. And
oh yeah. It's like what's the problem, officer? What's the officer problem?
I gotta tell you, some of my favorite Friday nights were with the Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
That was the show. You go home and watch the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yep.
I guess, yeah. So, I mean, we did too when we were kids. And you know what? We actually had the good fortune. My mom, she was walking through the parking lot of our hometown, way up in the central interior sticks of British Columbia, the hometown, and her foot fell into this pothole that the municipality had just left exposed, with a rebar actually looped over, so it acted as a kind of, it made it really easy for people to hook their foot on and trip over. She fell over, broke her foot, and my dad actually he won just a small civil suit trial, I guess, judgment rendered in support of his case and cause, favor, I guess, as they say. And it actually helped to a few $1,000s that helped to pay for our trip down to Los Angeles, Disneyland, Universal Studios, Knott's Berry Farm, among other things. We stayed at the Roosevelt Hotel, which now I guess is a real dump. It's haunted apparently too. Some people say by, I think it's the ghost of Marilyn Monroe sometimes appears in this one particular mirror, among other things. But Universal Studios, that's where they had the Dukes of Hazzard. Did anyone ever visit Universal Studios as a kid? But they had like Jaws there, and they actually pulled me out of the audience. This lady did. I was like, what, 10 at the time, to play. This is back in 1980, to play Steve Austin, the Universal Boy. No, what the fuck am I saying? The Bionic Boy, courtesy of Universal Studios.
The $6 million man.
That was me. Do you remember? I think I kind of, I told you about this when one of the first times we talked. Did we?
Yeah.
Is that the case, Christian? You're like, oh, that's so cool. You $6. Like, no, man, just this one time, Universal Studios, it was just they had me play acting. Like, oh, okay. So I think he was in his, what was it, Christian? I think in his own way of thinking, it was, I somehow had some connection, with
You were on the show.
The series itself. Christian, by the way, what are you doing these days? Before we get into the news, or at least the bullet points, which I always fail to do here, as far as talking points. How is your health? Now typically you're in things like jacuzzi repair. Is that your main?
Yeah, and I have a crane truck. Like I do crane services.
Yeah.
Like like all like truck decks or sheds, or like move big stuff.
Yeah.
So
Oh, you mean a high hab? Is it called a high hab?
Yeah.
You know that term, high? I think it's high hab.
That's exactly the brand. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. Crane truck. Okay. And how's that going? Work picking up a little bit more for you?
Well, I can't really work at the moment because of my health. Like, I went for the stress test like in March, and like they had to stop it after 3 minutes, like the treadmill, because like my blood pressure goes so high. Like it's dangerous. So like hold on.
You don't smoke these days, do you? You don't. Have you ever smoked?
Well, I smoke weed.
Not these days, though. Do you? Or cigarettes? You don't smoke.
Yeah.
You smoke cigarettes?
No, I don't smoke cigarettes.
Just weed.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, tabernacle.
Yeah. And it's called like the severe hypertension and chest pain symptom that undergoing investigation. So like truly investigated as the presence or absence of coronary artery disease.
Well, you got the bloody kill shots. Or how many kill shots were were issued to you under the pretense that it was some sort of steroid cortisone shot, but the doctor tricked you?
Yeah, I had like my shoulder, and like he said, the doctor said that I'll give you something for the pain. So like I don't not a fucking vaccine, eh? I said no, it's for the pain, like it's cortisone. So like he injects me, and as soon as he pulls the needle out, he says it's mRNA.
So he said, "Oh, sorry, it is a kill shot."
Well, he said mRNA, but like on the spot, like I wasn't really sure mRNA or whatever, like me, the vaccine, like COVID vaccine or not, But like, and now like it's nowhere to be found in my files. Like, cause like, they write everything in your file.
Of course.
Like, even if you get like a tetanus shot or stuff like that, I got the file, and like you see from like older, from 2017, and like this one is hidden. Like, so I contacted like a patient advocate, and they have access to more, like to be able to dig more. And yeah, I'm waiting for like the news, so to
Yeah.
see exactly what it is, because like this doctor like is fucking done, like you know, like
Well,
he
then,
fucked me up, like he poisoned me, like
That's
so.
50 doubloons.
well, Tom Renton now
But
said
yeah.
all children's vaccines will now be mRNA. Guys, I would advise you strongly not to give your kid a single shot of
Oh,
anything.
we got to be
No,
careful how we phrase that, because I think YouTube is heavily invested
Oh,
in
you
that.
saw on YouTube. I figure.
Oh yeah,
okay,
yeah.
yeah, sorry about that.
Well, this
Oh,
is my personal medical advice. I'm giving it. All right, how about
Yeah,
right.
but that's really what happened to me, and now I'm stuck like that. And like you know, like the worst is like I was saying to him, because like you know, like I knew like what it was for and everything, like you know, like so I didn't want that stuff, like you know,
No,
like
yeah, sure. I mean, you couldn't have made it any more
clear.
direct or clear. Yeah,
Yeah,
now you're based out of Alberta at present. Did you receive? It was one single shot that you received in
yeah.
Quebec or Alberta?
No, Alberta.
What is this How many other people did this doctor pull this crap on? Like what?
Exactly. I'll make sure he doesn't do that anymore, one way or another.
Oh my God! Does he have a history, or does it? You got to wonder. Like the meta. There's the like.
Like when
Whoa.
I got there, like the doctor seemed like you know, like on a coke binge or something like that. Like he
Really?
was like you know, like at the end of the shift, but like you know, like kind of hyper and
Yeah.
yeah, and like
Oh
you know, like
no.
drug. Okay,
Yeah.
and like even like try to like erase my family doctor's name on my file and put his name.
Whoa. Like you saw him do this?
Yeah. Like he told me that my doctor wasn't practicing anymore. My doctor's still working there.
So what was this guy? Some sort of person? It sounds like somebody got sent in to take care of you. Is that possible? Did you have an appointment booked for
No,
some
no,
time?
I
Or
went to the emergency, but like
it's wild.
yeah, like he went to his computer screen and like I don't know, like that's when like he after like he said like I'll give you something for pain and like yeah. So like yeah.
Cut away. I just cut away. Take over for a little while. I'm gonna just cut away for a little cookie break here. Let the rest of the gang that have taken the time, made the effort to stick around to have at it. Has everyone had a chance to take a look at the talking points? Like it's just a kind of it's a I don't say guidelines, just to keep the conversation on track. If you know, I mean, it's open to anything, obviously, as far as what's on each of our independent news radars, and we all know how quickly things change from one news week cycle to the next. So has everyone had a chance though to open the file? Sometimes it's ODT format, and sometimes that doesn't
I
it doesn't really
didn't.
work for people. They need like a PDF or something more along those lines. But Sonia, Vinny, Roger, Christian,
I have
I
opened the
didn't.
file.
you had success, did you? Is there anything that jumped
Yes.
out at you?
No, not really. It was kind of like a bunch of news, politics and stuff.
Just click on the links. Down at the bottom, there might be some more fun stuff like pop culture and
Oh,
that sort of thing.
awesome. I'll look again.
Fingers crossed.
I think
Yeah.
last time I used your file, I think I could just take and run it into the browser, and it popped up on the browser too. So, like if you just take and hold it and drag it over to your browser, it should pop up on the browser, if I'm remembering correctly. But instead of having to open it with like a PDF reader. You heard that, right? I'm not too sure about that, but I'm pretty sure that it was, because I've done it with other people who like to do talking points too. But
Yeah,
you're the one.
fantastic.
So I don't really like getting too much into the whole topics that were on there. The one about Korea that really stuck out to me was he was talking about the dude's mother-in-law even got a year in freaking jail or prison or something. So that was
that was
kinda,
last year too. So I mean, and here's the thing, you know how there's a reason why the Chinese Communist Party, it's against the law for any of their card carrying members to be audited, them or their families. So we saw how that all went over via the stateside with the likes of Hunter Biden and his father and other miscellaneous family members. You know,
I have opened the fire.
mm-hmm. Well, I could bring it up in a screen share too. The point is just the level of corruption. It's off the charts. So,
Yes,
but
darling.
it sounds like the Camp Lejeune cover up is another issue here. Just it popped up on our radar during the course of our general browsing activities this past week, and we thought, oh, that's kind of interesting. Has everyone heard of the Camp Lejeune cover up? And then the Laurel Canyon Lookout Mountain secret film location, but also human trafficking. Do you know about that, Vinny?
You know I do, brother.
Well, let's hear a little bit more than your take on that.
But you know what's more interesting to me, that you actually have up here, I show speed. Are you kidding me? Did you see that video? It's on my channel.
What's it called?
So what? He's in China, and there's a bunch of tourists running alongside his car, limousine possibly, right? And one of them hands him a bag.
Oh, the friggin' that what is what? Like, and this is what everyone's supposed to be focused on these days. Like, this is what occupies the minds of so many.
Unfortunately, yes,
it's like
it does.
Millions and just countless number. And why?
Because they're
well, he just gave him a present. That's all. But he didn't really appreciate the present.
Well, this guy's a total, like, I that's the first time I heard about this guy. I checked it out for about a minute or so. It was like the whole thing is so fabricated and fake and it's staged. Yeah. It's like manufactured celebrity.
Right.
Well, it's propaganda.
I mean, yeah, of course it's propaganda. What skills or what talents does this person have, other than all I could see was he's black and he can walk and talk a little bit, you know.
See, Chinese.
I think the Chinese might kind of go for the black thing is interesting. Definitely be a bit of a novelty for them. So that's kind of. But you can get some people with talent or skills, for crying out loud. Come on.
I'm kind of into the K-pop stuff, like the K-pop girls.
You're joking.
I like it.
Okay, well, yeah, I can. That coming from you, that I understand. Yeah.
I like when they're dancing up on the cars and stuff, and their skimpy little outfits.
Doing the splits, the squats, the twerking,
the good stuff.
Yeah. Oh my God.
You know, it's just, I mean, stupidity is in its own level in different categories. You know what I'm saying? Like, freaking, I would never want to mess with Oriental girls, though, because, like, freaking, they cry when they have sex. Women are, like, Oriental girls are just crybabies.
My wife was pretty happy last night. What are you talking about?
I mean, they cry, though. You know,
the only time my wife has cried is when I've left her. Never when I've left
your wife.
Well, I'm kind of speaking metaphorically.
Okay.
As being like the only time she, has a problem is when when we're apart. Really.
That is horrible. I didn't know how I was going to handle that.
I think you're overstating. Now, what you're getting at is a certain segment of the population the Asian, but I mean, couldn't the same be said for Western women?
They don't cry.
What do they cry?
Except
Oh,
for
during Bang
Sonya.
Bang. I see what you're
Yeah.
saying. I don't
Sonya.
get that.
Sonya said she did, but that's because the dude gave her a freaking spiritual experience. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
Took her to heaven and brought her back home and dropped her.
Well, that's good for her, I guess, right? Peak experience. Why not? That's great.
It's like, but like, that's the thing, man. Like, Oriental women have this way of acting.
All
And
right.
it's just
The one thing I will say to that is the childishness. And that's mostly the younger ones. When they get to marrying age and they've been in a marriage for a while, they're total they're dragon ladies. You know,
hot
tiger
chicks.
mums, tiger mums, dragon ladies. That's more the tendency. Like they don't take much crap at all, and they if they can get like seek and accomplish some revenge for what if they feel they've been slighted or done wrong by in any way,
They will
you can
kill
bet they
you.
will. Yeah. So here we go. The investigating the shadowy conspiracy that led Jared Leto to blah blah. 1947, U.S. military establishes a secret film unit headquartered deep in Laurel Canyon. That's the same Laurel Canyon where all those 60s rock stars came out of too, I guess. And pretty interesting place to live, huh? So there wouldn't be too much deep state or CIA activity in that area
Hippie
of
dude.
the world.
That's more hippie terrain. Like,
Well, hippies, they have nothing to do with CIA, though, do they? Never.
Well, I mean, maybe today.
Oh,
Like,
but
you know what I mean?
not back in the 60s.
Yeah, I doubt
They're
that.
all like up with the man, down with the man, and anti-establishment. It's a really cool, very fascinating place and location. I guess we'll click on some of the pictures here. Why not? So
Now that Camp Lejeune you were talking
yep,
about,
yep.
I actually know a little bit about that because here in the United States they were bombarding the televisions with lawsuits that were put out, and I was kind of suspicious about it because like all these lawyers were advertising it. I mean, massively amounts of them. And come to find out, I told my brother when I finally got sick of it, I was like, I guarantee you that when election time comes, one of those politicians are going to use this as some kind of a freaking political thing. Well, this is what I did, and sure enough, Joe Biden came out and said, "Well, I'm the one who released funding for people who were suing the government because of Camp Lejeune." So he turned around. He not only paid out lawsuits to people who were involved in that, but he also went and sent money out basically to all of these lawyers and encouraged them to freaking do the commercials and stuff to promote Camp Lejeune's lawsuits. And as soon as election time came around, that was one of the things he tried to stick with.
Well, and wasn't that the right thing to do? Or are you saying
it's the right thing to do if it's not for political motivation. You know, he was in office since the 1960s.
Everything is political, and they're polished
He could
professional
have done something.
politicians are going to seize if they think it's going to help win votes, that's what they're going to do. And if they think that they can go about whatever it takes, man, to win elections is really what it boils down to. Clearly, there's what is it? What do they call people who come up second in an election? It's like they
Call them winners.
No, there's like almost won or nearly first. There's some little catchphrase that they use. Also ran. Number 2 is the also ran guy or girl. So
But the other guy is usually the freaking libertarian. He's usually the
Yeah.
one, the other guy.
Right. Right.
There's the Republican, the Democrat, and then the other guy. That's usually the libertarian.
Right. So here's a Lookout Mountain aerial shot, I guess, and I think from what we're seeing up here that there's like an example of one of the films that they put together there. And in fact, the argument, one of the theories out there is that Stanley Kubrick used it as one of the logistical kind of resources that helped to stage the fake moon landings. That's how the argument goes. Whether that was in fact the case or not, no idea. Lookout Mountain, 1906. There we go. So this is and there's some wider shots too. It's really beautiful and historic. There's no doubt. That's really quite breathtaking. Laurel Canyon. Imagine 1906. Just look at that beautiful scenic. A few roads up there. Just wow. But underground. See, the thing is, they have all these tunnels, right? Vinny, do you know much about? You've heard about that and human trafficking, and God only knows where things are at presently on that front.
It's well, like I said, I'm waiting for people to understand that this infrastructure has existed long, all around us. We have an underground civilization running parallel to ours, right? A lot of the so-called food recalls, I believe, are basically just grabs of food for the underground. All right, all this food doesn't just go bad, right? They just make up these things so they can just grab items, I think. But it's amazing what's happened. All of these things, but we're starting to tie it all together. All of these things are being revealed. It reminds me of a book, Marvel Boy #3 by Grant Morrison and J.G. Jones, and it's a fantastic book because it tells you how to beat it. It's basically the end of They Live.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Marvel
See,
Boy.
remember They Live didn't have a Hollywood ending. It's one of the few movies that didn't have a Hollywood ending. Another movie without a Hollywood ending is Blow with Johnny Depp. Remember how that one ends? Kind of sad, isn't it? Poor Johnny Depp just hit George, right?
He goes to jail, doesn't he?
He has to make one more deal, and his buddy sells him out.
Yeah.
Right, so that's not a Hollywood ending.
What about They Live? They Live do they get killed? Does Rowdy get killed in the end?
It ends inconclusively, right? All of a sudden you can see the newscasters are aliens.
Yeah.
Right? And the movie ends with everyone waking up to the reality, and that's how it ends. Right?
Even back then, we were all pretty young, obviously. What was it, 87, I think that came out? That was around the time of my first acid trip. I was totally all about wanting to read Huxley and investigate, Timothy Leary and the whole, we were talking earlier, the hippie counterculture movement, and, just trying, testing the limits, basically, hopefully without getting yourself killed, right? But adventuring, and if that includes in internal exploration, then that was definitely what I was all about, to a certain extent. Not the extent that Christian underwent, clearly, because that was a different story where it was not of his own free will and accord, unfortunately. But They Live, I knew right at that. Well, I didn't know, but I hypothesized, shall we say, that this is going to be exactly the way it turned out, like a cult classic, something that is the establishment, even at that age, I don't know, 18, 19, maybe at the most, could sense that the powers that be are not going to let this, catch on, or they're not going to promote, just like, promote it the way that, what was that, The Sound of Freedom? You remember that film from a few years ago with the human trafficking thing, business and the way it works across the world in some ways, of course.
Well, I believe they put subliminal programming in that film.
Why wasn't that up? Why wasn't that up for an
Very
Oscar award?
Well, did you notice all the nonsense? Right,
I nominated it for an Oscar. I'm sure a lot of others nominated it for an
but
Oscar.
the Academy doesn't want that thing showing up, right?
The Academy has to take. It's in the hands of the Academy. Well, of course, the Academy would never have anything to do with human trafficking, right? Right. Yeah. So how many members sit on the Academy, as it were? Any idea?
I'll look that up again for next week.
And another kind of little scam institution, I guess, is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Jan Wenner, Yvonne's gone now, so we can reference with the poor Yvonne. Yeah, I mean, pretty, Yvonne, Jan, so the story goes, at least, pretty faggy Wenner. I'm not sure if he's like bisexual or what exactly, but.
Well, I think he was a tranny, and he was even drawn that way in Daredevil 100.
Really, Jan Wenner of, and that is a Dutch name,
Rolling Stone, if I'm not
mistaken. Yes. Rolling Stone. It kind of, I thought, I don't know, man. I really dug it up until, I guess, there was real talent and music being produced, like rock in the day up until the 90s, and then they lost me during the whole grunge thing. It's like, yeah, it's cool to be like these guys, and with the whole heroin scene and all this kind of these weird freaky drugs. Like, I always knew better than to go that far. You know what I mean? Like coke and the heavier stuff, right? So and the music too. Plato talked about that in the Republic, talking like saying, like, when the modes of music change, the walls of the city shake, to the foundation, when the modes of, kind of paraphrasing, the modes of music change, that the walls of the city shake to their foundations.
Well, there's something to that, because plants actually react positively to classical music, but negatively to rock and rap.
Wow.
If you can believe that.
Well, I'm not a plant, and classical music makes me want to barf. My wife is into it. I think she's just so bourgeois, though. Really, it's all bourgeois. Speaking of aristocrats, and what was it, ass fisting? So as what came up earlier. Little call back to that for people who might have missed out first time around. I don't know. Does anybody like any of you? Do you like Vinny? You like classical music?
Love it. You ever heard?
I like Wagner. Wagner's okay.
Well, let me get the link for this guy. I can never remember the name, but Kyung Hwa Chung. She does a rondo in this song and in this piece, and it is fantastic.
Sounds pretty Korean too.
Well, I'll get it for you in a few minutes.
Very, very Korean name. And that's one of the things they do here in Korea. They throw their kids, so many of them, into the piano institutes. They won't have anything to do with me or my acoustic guitar. Very little, unfortunately. I don't understand what the deal is exactly, but it's kind of sad. But they're all about this whole kind of uppity sort of bourgeois scene. And I guess it's a way of just bragging rights. Like, oh, look at my child. So skilled, so qualified, so capable on the piano, playing the works of Mozart and Brahms, or whatever other famous classical composer you care to mention. And it's really interesting, because at the same time, you ask them to, they can read music, a lot of them, quite well. You ask them to play a G chord, and they, so more often than not, get really confused. It's like, no, just play a G chord. Can you play a G chord? You play an A minor? A lot of times we'll confuse them, which, It really shouldn't, but I've experienced that like repeatedly here, more often than not. Not always. Sometimes they can rise to the occasion, but it's just a head scratcher. One of those
I'm
things.
glad I was able to listen to everything you said, because when you said throwing him into the piano, at that moment I thought that like they picked these poor little Korean kids up and just throw them into the piano and shit. And I'm like, oh my god, dude.
Yeah.
Can you imagine just getting all tore up by those piano cables and stuff? And
I meant throw them
slamming
into the
it down.
piano academies.
Well, I know now.
Did I
I
misspeak?
was,
So look
I,
at this. Look at
I would
Mount.
kind of do. I would actually probably do that, because like it'd
Oh,
be just so
jeez.
cool to throw a little Korean in a piano and slam the door down on his head.
Oh, jeez. Oh, dude, we're gonna start either losing a lot of listeners or picking.
Well, it's like seeing midgets. You know what I mean? Everybody likes seeing a midget at a
midget
rodeo.
wrestling. Midget wrestling. Yeah.
You
Okay.
know,
What do? They ride the bulls?
they chase the midgets into the barrel so that the bull riders can get away.
Oh,
So,
I thought that's what the clowns did, but I guess midgets as
well,
of late.
midget clowns,
I
clowns,
see.
even better, dude.
Midget clowns. Okay.
Excellent.
Transvestite midget clowns, huh? There we
I
go.
don't know
Got it.
about
Come
all
on.
that.
How about that?
I mean, Cowboys ain't gonna put up with no transvestites.
You don't think so? Transvestite. So, okay. Beethoven violin concerto in D. All right. Well, Vinny, I respect my wife would probably love this actually, so I better
I think she will love this.
yeah. You know what? This will
This
help put you in her good books. Okay.
Oh boy.
Right? Yeah. She's like, oh well, thanks, Vinny. So Dave McGowan. We've all heard of Dave McGowan, haven't we?
My buddy.
Yeah,
buddy.
in weird scenes, and he
to
passed.
expose 9/11 for the fraud that it was.
Okay, yeah, and let's not forget he passed away. He wasn't that old, cancer. And guess
He
what?
was cancer. Yeah.
Guess what? Guess who else passed away? Was someone else that exposed 9/11 at a pretty early period of time as well too. Muhammad Atta and the Flying Venice Circus. His name escapes me, but he's gone now too. And I don't think either of these fellows lived to make it to 60.
Imagine that, huh?
Yeah, and they both got hit by cancer.
Yeah, the cancer that can be cured by ivermectin.
Fast acting cancer. Really?
And benzol and
kidding.
baking soda.
Well, yeah, that's kind of how baking soda. That's got to be like a pure form, right? Injected.
It's just going to be processed correctly, right? That's all.
Well, it's got to be concentrate, does it not? Like pure, process, sure. So, okay, look who we had. This is, weren't Charles Manson and his crew, weren't they all over this area as well? Like they were all, the whole, apparently they talked about with the murder of Sharon Tate and the LaBianca family, that there were toilets, like there was a lot of toilets being flushed all through Hollywood in the wake of that, and referencing as basically the amount of drugs that were going down the drain. Hey, because that's the whole thing. Like it was so heavily tied into the drug scene, Hollywood drug scene, with the mamas and the papas, Cass Elliot, and incestuous pedophile from the sounds of things, Papa John, good old Papa John, eh? Phillips.
What he did to Mackenzie Phillips.
Well,
Marilyn.
I mean, who?
The daughter. On that show, One Day at a Time.
Yeah, Mackenzie Phillips, exactly. What, Roger? Who are you talking about?
I was getting ready to say Marilyn Manson, but Charles Manson is who is wanting to say, look at Charles Manson and the Tate murders.
That's what we're talking about, and the drug scene, and the drug burns, right? And the drug money, and the owing of money, right?
They allowed him onto the property. He didn't break in. He was invited in because of a drug deal.
Who?
And he Charles Manson,
Which property?
the Tates.
When?
Whenever he went in to murder,
he
what's
didn't
her
go.
name?
He was not there. Apparently, that's on the night of the murder. He wasn't even there.
No, he wasn't there, but he'd been there before.
Exactly. He had been there before. He'd met Sharon Tate, so he knew that. Who was Melcher? Terry Melcher had moved out. He I guess was aware of that, right? So, and that Sharon Tate and Roman Polanski, they were involved.
It was a straight up drug deal that went wrong.
Yeah, like who was the guy that was put Tex Watson, right? He was heavily involved in that whole scene, wheeling and dealing in the world of drugs in that area for quite a few years.
Which member of the Beach Boys was it that was buddies with Charles Manson?
Wilson, Dennis, the drummer.
Yeah.
Yep. They were all chums.
There was an interesting story that Mike Love talks about being in the shower. Charlie comes in to the shower. He's like, "Hey man, you gotta come on out here. We're all gonna have a big orgy." And Mike Love is like, no, I don't think so. Can you just kind of leave? Please go. I'm having a shower. Just go away. So it was a bit of a Mexican standoff kind of deal. So who knows how many actual murders he was responsible for. Yeah, Mexican standoff. He never got his. The one thing, as much as you can criticize, there's a couple things. There's so many things to be said about the whole Manson business and what really went on. And Bugliosi, that guy was an establishment shill, hatchet man. He was a total hatchet man and then establishment shill, and he was pretty sociopathic too, wasn't he? And secondly, among the many points that could be made, Manson, he never got his day in court. They wouldn't let him defend himself.
Couldn't allow it.
Either like, oh, he's going to hypnotize the members of the jury, or he's got these secret mind powers that
He explained that in prison, though. He explained all that in prison.
What did he say?
He said straight up that it was all for show. Okay.
What do you mean all for show? Is a stage trial, show trial?
When he went up on court or into court and he was to give testimony, he freaking said that it was all scripted. Everything that he said was just stuff that was made up and just bullshit that was rolling out of his freaking head. And it was like none of it was true. He mentions the drug deals. He mentioned how he was set up because
he said that in court or when he was in jail?
He said it when he was finally in prison.
Right.
When he was in prison and everything, he said it straight up that it was all
I don't think Charlie never said too much so straight up. He'd like to talk in riddles more than anything is what my impression was. But, he did talk about one of the things interesting he talked about, I think, was because he was into, for a time, the underground Hollywood kind of sex film sort of scene, as it were, including the likes of one film that he alluded to where I think was it not the likes of, it was like Yul Brynner and Peter Sellers. There's one reference where he mentioned something to that effect. But what I was going to say earlier, though, it's kind of dovetails with this in part, is Roman Polanski, Sharon Tate, and their whole, because like they were pretty chummy with, among others, Hugh Hefner, and the whole Playboy Mansion business that was taking place there, and God only knows what to make of these secret tunnels that I really think that there were tunnels, which there were maps and blueprints that were found, which Hefner, it's really interesting what he said right on camera. I think it was in front of the blueprints and the whole bit, everything. And he looked up at the camera. He's like, yeah, April Fools, which was I guess if he's going to say something, that would be it. But and that was about the extent of things. But leading off to Jack Nicholson's property, I'm not sure if Marlon Brando. Wouldn't surprise me. James Caan and a few others too. So it's interesting that Nicholson actually had Brando's house demolished after.
Well,
I think.
think about what they tried to do with Gene Hackman. Now, I personally don't believe that Gene Hackman was involved in this trafficking, but he did get the house from his agent, so his agent possibly knew what was going on, right? But you saw what they did, right? They tried to smear Gene Hackman as a trafficker. I don't think it stuck because I don't hear anyone talking about it.
Right. Yeah, no, they did. There's these fake videos that came out, like on YouTube in the wake of his death. Like, you wouldn't believe what they found under Hackman's property tunnels. Like, oh my God. It's like, okay, well, this channel looks pretty fake though, too. You know, it's like, doesn't look very too legit. And it's all this AI crap, and it's like, what's going on? And you know, there's something funny that I did later here. I still don't know what to make of it exactly. You know, I mean, did they die under the pretenses to which it was alleged, with her contracting this rare tick fecal virus? I guess that's can prove to be quite quite deadly, or maybe it was something that was administered to her, and the dog fell victim to this as well. He apparently, from what the autopsies came up with, died a week after her passing.
And that changed too, Jeffy. That changed too. So
what?
Once again, like the other story.
What do you mean it changed?
Like the Keystone Cops. They changed the date that he didn't die on the 16th, a week after, but before that.
What?
When you were mentioning the caves too, you do realize that Charles Manson had his freaking vision of Helter Skelter in a cave in a Barker Ranch, right?
That was after they left. That was after they left the Spawn Ranch.
Right. And it was in Death Valley whenever he came up with the death or the Helter Skelter idea.
Yeah.
Just before that, he supposedly got a vision in his head in a cave that he was meditating in.
Do you know that there was another old cult that existed in that area? I think it was the Barker Ranch. What area was it of LA exactly? Help me out here.
Death Valley in California.
Yeah, there's some little sort of rural satellite suburban type arm of I don't know how LA is how it maps out. Basically, it's quite well known. I'd have to bring it up, I suppose, do a DuckDuckGo search. But there's actually an older cult that existed. They weren't too. I don't know if they were doomsday, but there were some parallels that Manson almost seemed to draw upon. So I've got a book here, Aleister Crowley, Secret Agent 666. I think the author's last name is Spence, if anyone knows who I'm talking about. Is it Robert Spence? He does a really great job. He's a professor. It'd be great to get him on the show at some point.
Craig Spence?
No, don't think that's it. Don't think that's it. Was it Robert Spence? Doctor? Anyways, but he's done this really in-depth series you can get off of. It's called like the Teaching Company, TTC, if people are handy with torrents, and elsewhere you can get some content related to the series off of YouTube. And let's not forget archive.org, folks. That's a really great place for scouring about and doing a little deep dive digging when it comes to
It's Richard Shaver.
Richard Spence?
Richard Shaver. He came up with the idea of under.
No.
underground city
No,
legends.
no. Yeah, was that the same area? And something starts with an S, if I'm not mistaken. But was that the same area where the Shaver Mysteries? I know I
Yep,
kind of
it was Shavers, Mysteries, and Hollow Earth
right.
theories.
Yeah, a brief
Uh,
synopsis. There's some underground civilization of little people or something to that effect. Is that right?
the idea was popularized back in the 1940s,
Uh-huh.
and it said basically Manson
That wasn't
was
it, though.
going
That
out.
wasn't it. It might have been partly really, but it was more. It was more to do, like with theosophy. It might have been like a theosophy offshoot. Come to think of it, but you had the prototypical cult leader, and then his followers, essentially, is the acolyte disciples, and I think they were all like decked out in white robes. I'd have to track this down. It's very obscure, but it preceded Manson. Yet it's something he would have been aware of. He would have known about, and so he drew upon that in a really big way, according to our cult and occult uh, professorial expert, Mr. Spence. So
eh,
yeah.
Remember, Charles Manson also believed in bottomless pits
Did he
because
really?
that's where his family was supposed to escape into during the coming apocalypse.
I thought it was
Okay,
mostly to when he was pimping those girls of his out. That was
that
major
was the
money making and endeavor and affair.
he had to come up with something to
He was
get
a
him inspired enough.
he just he was a good pimp, wasn't he?
Well, I mean, he was good at keeping them
Yeah,
like
yeah,
whenever they got into court, they were mesmerized. They were 100% under his control.
yeah. I
Right. I
wonder.
mean, you got to remember, you got to admit that. I mean, they actually went and killed people because they believed everything he
Yeah.
said, and
Well,
that's still kind of debatable too. Yeah, that really is. Like, did they really do it, or was it what's his name? What
Tex
was his name? Tex. Yeah.
he got a lot of, yeah. He was, I think, he, yeah,
Because
responsible for
Tex was
most of the killing. But at the La Bianca house, who was it? It was I forget their names now. One recently was released. There's one that died behind bars, and probably deservedly so. She was pretty nasty. She was like totally psychotic, and who knows how. Like, some people are just born.
yeah.
We've talked about this in the past. For some people, just they're born of bad seed, and they can't ever reform themselves, either through the system or on their own accord, right? They just can't get it together. They're born to kill
But
and born to make other people's lives miserable.
James Dean was big on talking about that back when he was into acting. He was always talking about that whole same thing. That's why he always wanted to play the rebel. You
Didn't
know
know
what I
that.
mean?
He was
Yeah.
bi apparently too.
So,
Yeah, he
well,
was
that was
pretty bi, not just bicycle either, but
he was a
bi.
tricycle.
So but hey, that's the one thing. Colonel Tom Parker, Elvis's manager, right before Elvis went to Hollywood, he's like, "There's one thing I got to tell you. It's like, watch what you say. It's the place. It's run by queers and Jews. Basically, they dominate. Homosexuals and the Jewish mafia. Those the two driving dominant forces down in Hollywood. Of course, Tom Hanks. I don't think we didn't see anything. You didn't quite see him address that issue in his recent role that he embarked upon as Elvis's manager, Colonel Tom. Did For anyone that did see the movie, I think they just called Elvis a couple of years ago. So, but that's about it, folks. We've overshot the mark here once again. Not sure if we're going to be back this this coming Friday or not. I mean, I really like the way we kind of wrap things up here. There's some good flow and momentum. That Lookout Mountain, we traversed a lot of territory and terrain. Talking points and just getting a
My
better
old
feel for the land, I guess.
my old writing sponsor told me a story about Stone Mountain too that you probably would like to hear.
Stone Mountain?
Yeah, Stone Mountain.
Where's that exactly?
It's in Georgia.
Okay.
Now, Stone Mountain is right where the Confederates were hiding out in cave systems underneath it.
Yeah.
And while they were hiding out under it, the Union was getting ready to go in and take over Georgia, and they built up a camp up on top of Stone Mountain. Okay, so the messed up part about it is the Union was up on top, and the Confederates were down in these cave systems making ammunition so that they could ship them out to the Confederates while the Union was sitting on top of the mountain guarding the place.
Yeah.
So have you never heard of Stone Mountain before?
No, I haven't. I've been to a few stoned mountains in my time.
Lookout Mountain is just a little farther away from where Stone Mountain is.
What are you talking about, man? Lookout Mountain is Laurel Canyon, just California, just outside of LA.
Wait, hold up. You're not talking about Lookout Mountain in Georgia?
No, man.
Oh, hell, dude.
You're way off the map.
No, I mean, actually, that's where the real Lookout Mountain is in Georgia.
Okay, well, what's that? What's the backstory there exactly?
Well, actually, it's right there on the border of Tennessee and Georgia, and then you go down just a little farther, and that's you'll come to Stone Mountain.
All right. It sounds fascinating. Now, this is all Civil War history too, so
yeah,
that's amazing. And now, were these naturally occurring tunnels and caverns? They wouldn't have had time to dig them all out, would they?
No, these are all natural.
Sure,
these are all
of course.
natural.
Well, I mean, and it's really quite amazing to think. I referenced earlier the Age of Apocalypse. Okay, just to be clear, it has a lot to do with archaeology and ground penetrating radar. Look at what recently we've seen come to us via the deserts of Giza, or the Giza Plateau, the Egyptian desert, right? And this show that I've referenced a few times here over the course of things. What on Earth is the name it goes by? Actually, What on Earth? They got the satellite imagery all the way from space, looking down on what the Earth has to offer, and that in conjunction with archaeological digs, there's so much that turns up throughout the course of time. And then you got old books, for example, or myths, and what have been seen largely as folk legends for the longest time, and which, as things prove to be ultimately over time, maybe not so. That's the way science is done, I guess, so too, right? It's not so much of a legend or just a theory as people may have initially suspected, that it proves to be true. It's accurate. Things that what do you talk? What's that quote from the Bible, Vinny? That things that are kept in the dark cannot be.
Will soon be brought to light.
Yeah, and similarly, the Buddha himself was, he was kind of hip to this whole idea that the only three things that could not be hidden forever are the moon, the sun, and the truth. So there we go. Until next time, Sandy Galactic, thanks so much for hanging in there and contributing to the conversation. I think was it last week you were babysitting? I guess that was the deal. So or maybe that was when we just recently ran the spontaneous, really, Friday night feature show where we were thinking of potentially taking a break, but covering Yoon Gill's removal from office and stripping of presidential powers. Thank God, the guy, total, very dangerous man, wanting to completely hijack the country's, semi, fragile democratic system. Not any country you look around the world, it's a pretty similar state of affairs, frankly, where you realize without too much effort that we have to do a lot here to work to kind of keep things on track, so that the whole, as per the earlier reference to Leonard Cohen's, was it the future? Things are going to slide in all directions. Well, let's hope they don't slide too far, and that we can help to bring about a more positive transformation, heralding in a golden age, maybe not necessarily Trump's golden age, but golden age for humanity and the world. That would be wonderful. Not necessarily utopia, only because to this point those sort of projects have failed miserably in a bloody, spectacular fashion time and again. But Christian as well, hey, let's not forget about you. TheHighwire.com, ARC videos. Is that Del Bigtree, Sonia? You're just adding that link there right now. Sure, I bet you it is, right? The
Yes,
yogurts.
it is.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Thank you very much.
In case anyone's interested.
Yeah, and that the term, it's bifido. Bifidobacteria, is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
bifido something or another.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Gotcha.
Bifido up your ano.
What?
Come on now. Come on now, Roger.
Retinto bifido.
Oh, jeez. If there was one.
Burrito.
Oh my God. We're back to the ass fisting again, aren't we? That's exactly where I did
the
not
only
want to
person
end on.
out of this whole conversation that's even mentioned ass fisting is you, dude. Like,
I know, right?
Are you sure
one
about
other
that?
person has said
No.
other than me.
Well,
just
they
now.
talked about it. The aristocrats. Don't blame me.
Well,
Blame the aristocrats.
Yeah.
It was Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah, well,
Gilbert
Gottfried. I don't know. I'm not going to say anything bad about the guy. It's like, he's gone. He had a great laugh. Go ahead. What are your thoughts?
Out of every actor, who do you think would have been most likely to take an ass fisting?
Gilbert Gottfried. Well, I don't know. He was happily married. He was happily married with a couple of kids, but
just she probably is the one who did it.
Oh,
that's how their cats, and that's how the kids came into
Probably
the
why
world.
he talks that way.
Yeah.
So,
like, look at his face when he was talking.
Right.
He's always squinched up.
Probably why he looks like that, talks like that.
Yeah. Actually, no. The truth is, Elton John, great music, but you got to wonder about his kids and the fact he says they were adopted. That's not how they came into the world at all. Adoption or anything of the sort.
Well, they all got to have a cover story, right?
Well, you know what we're talking about here. I think technology has become so advanced that it doesn't take. Babies aren't made necessarily the way they used to be. A little bit of intense backdoor activity. Grown, I guess. Well, or ass fisting, that'll do it every time.
No, that doesn't work.
If you're Elton John, it does. Certainly is. You got enough money to pay for it. Trust me.
Elton John could just buy some kids. He probably doesn't even have to buy them. They just have to be appointed to him, and that's his story. So,
that's kind of what Vinny gets into talking about. You know what I mean? Like, these people buy kids,
as little playthings.
Everything. It doesn't matter. They
it
got
does
the money.
well.
They got the power.
Yeah,
It,
or they just want to raise them as normally as they can, within that context.
you know what's the bad or the most messed
Yeah,
up part
right.
about adoption is?
What
You
kind of
don't
adoption?
any
Same
kind of
sex?
just the whole thing about adoption is you can do it through freaking legitimate uh routes. Okay, the
Extensive
way
paperwork.
freaking
Yeah.
right. Or you can
Background
go to
checks.
an attorney. You can go to an attorney. You
Oh
can
my
pay an
gosh.
attorney shitloads of money, and they can just rush you through the process for
Are you
at a lot
really?
faster process.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never had any idea that was the case. So, all right. Well,
And a parent can actually go and negotiate an adoption through an attorney without having to go through court procedures.
depending on the amount of cash that you throw at them.
Yep. It's
That's
insane.
incredible. And is that in America primarily, or
That's what I know of here in the United States. I don't know how it is in
that's not
Canada.
the state of Illinois? It's probably all
Oh,
of America, presumably. But wow, that's quite something. So it'd be interesting if we had an expert on board, someone, because we don't necessarily. I mean, I don't hardly ever want to just take anyone's view or take on things as the gospel or the
Unless they're an expert
well, but
or
even
have
the
expert legal.
but no, but even experts have differing opinions, and that's where it gets really interesting.
but
It's
adoption is very very tricky on
pretty
its own.
touchy, huh?
Everybody,
Pretty touchy,
no, everybody
touchy-feely.
thinks that
Wow.
adoption is like all something that's cut and dry, but it's not. It's very very like it's very
Very touchy. Once again,
well, not
Ew.
touchy.
spit
It's
it out, man.
very
Spit it out.
there's
Oh,
a lot of
gross.
Elton
different
John.
aspects to it. There's a lot of different
Jolly Roger
aspects to it.
Hansen.
You know?
Wow.
Jolly Roger
Like-
Hansen.
This guy, tell you.
Jolly Roger
when
Hansen.
you have women that can get pregnant and
about you.
carry another couple's baby for 9 months and then just sign it over to them, there's no court cases going
Yeah,
on there.
well-
It's just a lawyer making a deal.
Well, now you're talking about, what do they call those? The the mothers that do the
Surrogate mothers.
Surrogate
Surrogate.
mothers. Yes. That's, I guess, kind of what we're talking.
They agree
there,
to it.
so.
I mean,
They do.
they're supposed to. I mean, that's what's supposed to be happening.
What? So
we all
basically,
know other things happen.
if I
too,
find if I find some hot Korean chick that I want to bang, knock her up, have her just run around for the next 9 months or so. She carries she carries the baby, pops it out. Why? How would that work then? Let me think now. Or is this through artificial insemination? Well, that's no
Either
fun.
way.
Who wants it done that way?
Yeah,
You want the
it would
actual.
be-
You want like the heat of the moment between the sheets and really going
Well,
at it there.
Well, you do.
Very-
Yes, you do, of course. But you can't really do that if you're like married already and
Or
trying
gay.
to adopt a kid.
Or gay.
Yeah,
a lot of
gay.
the gay. I think the gay folks. They
So it's really a
Nope.
corruption of like humanity, for one, if you ask me. That type of
the
thing
law, hey, the law.
that type of thing is, adoption though.
Debunking.
That's not,
Yeah.
course.
Now debunking your story, I gotta say nobody wants Vietnamese kids.
Who said that?
God. Yeah.
I did.
What
I
the
just-
fuck?
Why would you say that?
Whoopsie.
Why would you say that
Whoopsie.
necessarily?
Because those little kids are freaky looking, dude. They got like weird little teeth that stick forward out of their mouth and shit.
And the girls cry every time you bang them. Is that right? Is that your problem?
That's
That's
just
well,
the
see,
stereotypical
you brought it up.
stuff,
That's
okay?
your problem. You brought up earlier, and they cry every time you bang them. So is that where
That's
we're going?
just a stereotype. Okay, that's not true.
Oh,
I mean, come on.
There's no such thing as stereotypes. It's
Oh,
true.
whatever, Roger.
You know what I mean? It's like freaking. That's like saying that it's stereotype to say like homosexuals don't get hungry and stand behind the hot dog factory.
No, it's completely different, actually.
waiting
That's
for-
no. It would be more stereotype to say homosexuals dress nice. Okay, that's more
Well,
stereotype.
that's true. That is true.
Sometimes,
Right?
or
Some stereotypes are
excessive and
closer than others.
flamboyant.
Yeah,
in their
you know.
ways. So,
But not all of
anyways,
them are, though.
no,
I've met
but
a few
look,
tops
it's
that are
been
not
said
like
time
that.
and again, stereotypes are there and in place for a reason. Okay, because there's a
Right.
general tendency. We were just actually addressing this issue recently with my adult students, one of my adult student classes here
I
in
disagree.
Korea. There are bad Asian drivers, as an example. There's a
That
reason.
is true.
There's a reason
That is
for it,
true.
right? What
Yes.
stereotypes can we say, like with women after marriage? There's no, like, the sex kind of goes out the window, within a very short time after marriage.
Stereotypes are taken advantage of by the cabal in order to sway
Men can't
people
cook.
into some
Men
mental sort of thinking.
depends on what kind of
Oh,
The belief
stereotype you're
system.
promoting, I guess, right? So, but anyways,
Well,
yeah, 007. Hey, that's where we started today's live stream. And even though
She's
Sean
back.
Connery has been dead now the past few years,
wow.
he was one of the best, fits for that role. I don't know. I like most of them.
It's kind
They're
of
all
morbid a little
fine.
bit, I think.
Roger Moore. Who else? Timothy Dalton. He went bald pretty fast, didn't he? So, but then again, Sean Connery, I think he wore a hairpiece for the longest time. Speaking of which, I know, going back, had to get this out there because uh that movie, Shampoo. Who is the high profile hairdresser out of L.A.? This goes back to the whole Manson Tate business, Vinny. Why can I not for the life of me remember his name? But he was one of the victims. He was with that night at the Tate residence. He was the hairdresser. God Almighty! I think Larry Geller might have worked with him for a time, too. He was even in one episode of, was it Batman or the Green Hornet?
You're not talking about Liberace, are you?
Well, I don't know. Might as well be, but no. It was no. It was who the like Sebring.
Phil Spector.
No. So, the hairdresser, his name is Jay Sebring.
Jay Sebring, right? Jay, right.
Okay, so he was basically, whose hair he was cutting? People like Yul Brynner and Teddy Savalas, and like not much. Like, how much hair do those people have to cut? Those
Well, you're
guys.
thinking of the wrong.
Or yeah, well, no. It's because, well, who knows what was going on, but among other things, that they would leave there happily satisfied in one way or another, with because Sebring was a well-known cocaine dealer, and Frank Sinatra, I guess, was Dean Martin, a couple other names, and Frank Sinatra. That's what got me thinking about these toupees or hair pieces that the likes. I think Sean Connery was another one who, for quite a few years, sported a toupee. Christian's gone kind of quiet right now. I think that's a French term. Interesting to see. I guess something with top. Toupee, toupee. So, but yeah, Jay Sebring, and so it was all that whole Manson thing, man. It was so much more related to the Hollywood drug scene than what most people have any idea. And I think it was something that Bugliosi really wanted to play down, because then you get into a real whole can of worms. You want to play down and have it basically argued that it was all helter skelter, Charles Manson kind of brainwashing,
shit.
mind controlling the people.
I'll still say it. It's a load of shit.
What
Don't
is?
believe that stuff. The whole helter skelter thing. It
Yeah.
was just a crazy story that was freaking invented.
Why?
So it was a cover up.
For what?
The truth.
To
The
make
truth
an
behind.
example as well.
Yes. Okay. The truth behind it is this was all drug related.
What did Jaffe just say?
Right. Exactly. And the helter skelter story it was just a load of shit. It was
yeah.
So exactly.
There was recently, a couple of years ago, because Bugliosi's been dead now for who knows, it's been a while, but that one author, he was on Joe Rogan's show dealing with Manson, the 60s Manson, CIA, and so forth, and really did a great, put a great book together. God almighty, I think I've got here an audiobook form, but he actually spent time with Vincent, and the guy was totally unhinged, total lunatic. As so many people in show business, entertainment, politics, you name it, that they are behind the scenes when they're off camera or off the mic, and you don't see them directly, that they sometimes, maybe even just all too often, are, it's like night and day, I guess. So, but anyways, we'll pick up the story on the flip side. Get everybody mute out. We'll be sure to add your social media contact information. Without, that's all part of the deal here. We very much appreciate your support, folks, here. Sonia, Christian, Yvonne, Vinny, Roger. Did I say Yvonne? I think I'm getting to that. I can tell I'm running on fumes here right now. So, but everyone in the Peanut Gallery as well too. And are we going to be back this Friday night or not? It's anyone's guess. On Prison Planet, what do we expect? As Zane chimes in here at the tail end of things via Facebook. Also, hearing fentanyl has really made the cocaine industry pretty shaky to frequent. I guess he's talking about fentanyl taking over. So this, there you go. But having said all of this, we are going to sail on out of here. Jonathan Womack, be great. We are in dialogue behind the scenes, and he is once again someone that we. One of our first guests, actually. I think he was the 5th or 6th person that we interviewed in a formal capacity here. Early 2016 is what I'm thinking. Basically, maybe he'll hope to manage to refresh our memories, taking care of just a few brief in-house technical matters behind the scenes before we cue up the outro. This VLC player is a little clunky sometimes, unfortunately, but there we go. I think that should get things rolling. It's a beautiful spring season here that we're enjoying via South Korea. I've got everything cleared up on the immigration front. Got some summer holidays planned as well too, you might add. So that's something we can definitely all look forward to. But in the meantime, hopefully a good deal of quality feature content coming your way here before we reach that period in time. On behalf of Captain Long John Sinclair and all the rest of the crew down in Skullport Harbor, do keep in touch. Hit us up through email. Check out the website. I'm your host, as always, show's Chief Communications Officer Jaffe Ryder, reminding you, ear to the ground, eyes to the sky. Tally-ho.